Hey, beautiful people. Look, this is the first comment of the night. Listen, Isaiah, I was trying to get them to start, but they was just talking back there. It was a good conversation too, though. Anyhow, happy Friday, everybody. All right, let me introduce the panelists for tonight, which we have more joining us. They just had something a little interesting going on, so they're going to come in a little late. We have the AP, Mistaken, Marky Mark, Marcus, Tan, and Enas. My name is Shan Monet, formerly known as Shantae, and this is a Chic critique. Today, we are talking about women. Well, actually, we're talking about both. The women was just to get y'all in here because we know y'all like to talk about women, but we're really going to talk about both, okay? People are delusional when dating. Most women and men don't qualify for what they want, and that's what we're going to be talking about. You guys can come off mute now. Somebody said we're going to color people standard time. We were waiting for more panelists. It's Friday night. We have to work. Look, the ideal time is 9 o'clock, but sometimes we're looking more like 9:30. You know? What'd you say, Marcus?
Ish.
Right. 9-ish. But you know, with Black folk, you got to tell them the early time because you know they're going to log on late.
At
9:30 anyway. Right. So that's what we're trying to do.
War Eagle.
You know, honestly, the time thing used to bother me.
And Eugene, Dr. Eugene. Go ahead. Who was saying something?
No, I was just saying we were talking about the Negro time. That actually bothers me because I'm on time for everything, and I'm typically 5 minutes early for everything.
You are on time, AP.
And it really bothers me. I'm like, why do we always gotta go according to the black schedule?
Mm-hmm. I'm typically on time too. My friends used to get on me when I was younger, but I get this from my dad. But like I would go to a party, like party starts at like 9 o'clock. I'm there, like, come on, let's go. I'm there at 9 o'clock. And they're like, what are you doing? Like nobody goes to a party on time. And I'm like, you know, I had curfew too, so I wanted to get in as much as I could before I had to go home.
Awesome. All right, you guys. Well, we are talking about the delusions of dating, people wanting what they don't qualify for. And I think that, we were having a little bit of a conversation pre-show, and I think that this has a lot to do with it. But the problem is the reason they don't know they don't qualify for is because they're being entertained anyhow. Does that make sense? Meaning men and women may entertain people for different reasons, and it gives off a false impression like you qualify for that, but you don't. Does that am I making sense?
Make perfect sense.
I get it.
Makes sense to me.
But in what's also happening is it's slowing down the dating process because some people take advantage of it and they should be getting serious, but they're so busy taking advantage of those opportunities that are not leading to being serious that it's like a fog in there. It's like blinding them. Meanwhile, the woman of your dreams is right here, and you keep playing with the people you shouldn't be playing with, missing out on the woman or the man of your dreams. She or he doesn't have time for that. And so they go off and you still out here playing.
I think that's part of it.
Did that make sense?
It did, but I think that's only half the story. I think,
okay.
What's the other half?
I think the other half is that people know that they don't qualify. And that's where you get the representative, where people put up that front and pretend for as long as they can get away with it to be the person who does qualify, right? And I think the other part of what drags out the dating process is that once that mask slips, well, now is like the moral dilemma of, was that the representative, or is this person just going through something, right? And I think that's the part that gets a lot of people stuck in situations and relationships that they have no business being in, because they can't tell, was this person faking it this whole time, or is this just a situation that can be worked through?
Yeah.
Shan, I'm gonna drop and come up in the in another tab because I gotta get on my laptop.
Okay, that's fine. Drop it like it's hot. Does anybody else want to contribute to that? I want to play videos, but I kind of wanted to get everybody's input on it before the videos are played. How do you feel about that? Do you think that one of the problems that we're having when it comes to what you're seeing, because some of you guys are in relationships, what you're seeing, especially in the YouTube space, is that maybe people are aiming for things they don't qualify for? Do you think that it may not be the top reason, but do you think that that's pretty high up into what, some of the problems that we're seeing as far as dating, especially as it relates to what we've seen on the internet?
No, I don't agree with that. Oh, I don't think that's the case, because one person, I think you should aim for what you want, right? I think men should aim for who they want, who they desire, the same way that women should aim for who they want. Who's to say who is out of someone's league? Like, you never know. That person who you think is out of your league, you may be just what they're looking for. So no one person knows what someone, should have, could have, or what that person wants or what they need. Don't never judge a book by its cover. I mean, I've done that several times, and I think we all probably have. You've seen this person who looks like they have it all. They're fine. This man is fine. He's got the swag. He's very attractive, and he's with this woman, and we're like, okay, how did she get him? But yet they've been married for years. Maybe she was just what he needed. Maybe she was just what he was looking for. Or maybe he wasn't. She wasn't what he was looking for, but she was absolutely what he needed. So I personally think that everybody should aim for what they want, and you never know. You just might get what you're seeking.
Any of the guys want to chime in on this?
Go ahead, Marcus. I'm gonna let you ride with it for a minute.
Okay, so the question was, repeat the question for me so I can make sure I answer
Do you think that one of the biggest reasons why the dating, so what we see on YouTube, because we can only go by what we see on YouTube, because we only have access to so many people, which is our circle, but from what you see that's going on now, do you think that some of the issues are that people are facing in the dating game? Do you think that a lot of that stems from people aiming for people who they don't qualify for?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay. And the add-on to that was, are people taking advantage of that data market and wasting people's time and their own time? So right. I just wanted to make sure I was answering the right question.
But that's the second part. We're gonna talk about that next. I want you to answer that one, and then we'll go to that one, because that's a big one.
So short answer, yes. And I think social media and the ability to observe other tribes or other groups of people or other in your mind potential dating options has created a fallacy of options that don't truly exist, but the ideal of them exists and is very real to people. So yeah.
Yeah, I also think it's kind of like what's happening right now. You have, you have 46 people in this chat right now, but we only have 8 likes. So that's exactly the kind of stuff that happened in the dating market. Get them likes up.
Them freeloaders.
So yeah, you definitely got to get the likes up. Like, yo, that's real simple and it don't cost you anything. But I agree with Tan partly. Shoot your shot. Go for it. Why not? Why not? Go ahead and shoot your shot and feel like an idiot whenever she turn you down because you don't really qualify for her because we are living in this delusional social media era. Just because I can reach you on through your DM doesn't mean I should reach you through your DM. But by all means, shoot your shot. You know what? As a matter of fact, I've been thinking about hitting up Halle Berry here lately. I feel like she came free not too long ago, and I know she a little bit on the crazy side. I like them a little crazy. She got a little bit more money than me, not much more. Well, maybe a lot more. But you know what? She might say, "Stace, yo, AP, let's go," or she could be like, "Are you a damn fool?"
Or if she gives you the attention and you sweep her off her feet, you wine her, dine her, you meet all of her needs, then you might not have been what she was looking for. But
Oh,
if
hey, she
she
go.
but if she decided to give you some time and you took advantage of that, you would grasp her attention. That's how you see people who you would never even imagine, who you probably wouldn't think are compatible or would be together, but they are. So, but to your point, because you mentioned something very important, shoot your shot. But if they, decline your offer, they decline. I think that's part of the other problem. People be honest, right? Anybody can shoot their shot, but don't lead the person on. If they're not what you're looking for, if they don't quote unquote qualify, then decline. Don't waste people's time. And then maybe they will realize, okay, maybe I don't align with this person, right? But if you lead them on, you're encouraging that person to continue to believe and have faith that they can go after that same caliber of person. Maybe it's not the caliber of person, maybe it's just you, but they won't know unless they get turned down. So be honest. If you're not honest, then you're not really doing anything for their ego either. You're leading them on, and it's false.
Then I'm gonna do
False hope.
exactly what people are doing because truth of the matter is I don't want Halle Berry. I want her network.
I think
And
that's
no, I'm just being like I'm using that as an example. People people will they want what they want, whether it's just you know what I want one night with that chick. Let me hit her up.
Mhm.
That in itself is right kind of misleading.
Mhm.
So me, what I would want from her is her network, and I'm gonna use her to get those resources because I don't really need anything else from her, right? And that's just an example of how people are moving in these spaces, which is why I believe a lot of people are jaded from some of these experiences that they're having. Like, oh, men ain't shit, women ain't shit, because like you knew that person wasn't for you, and you still gave them the time
I
that
don't
they
think
that they, in my opinion, don't qualify for. Just an
no,
opinion.
I don't think that that's really what it is because Tan touched on something when she talked about compatibility, right? I think there's way too much emphasis on compatibility without balancing it out with suitability. You might be compatible, but if that person isn't suitable, there's a whole chunk of that relationship that doesn't make sense, right? And that's not just on the aesthetic, right? Like if we're talking about AP and Halle Berry, the likelihood of her turning him down is high, not because of compatibility, but because of suitability, right? The number of men that are out there that would use her for her network, for her wealth, for her connections, whatever, far outnumber the people who don't need her for that, right? And I think when we strictly talk about compatibility, so many people think they qualify strictly off of compatibility, shoot their shot, get the chance to do it because people are emphasizing compatibility without taking a step back at the practicality of it and saying, does this relationship make sense in terms of how we function as two separate individuals? Right. And that's where suitability comes into play. But we skip over that part or ignore it completely.
Ooh, I 150% agree with you. I actually posted something similar on my IG not too long ago. I completely agree with you, and I don't. This might not be a trend tonight, but it's starting off. I totally agree with that.
I do too. I like that suitability. We never think about how if you're suitable. Are you a suitable mate? I like that. So, to the second part that Marcus tried to point out, I do think that that also plays a role. People are using, there's manipulation in there, saying, okay, I don't want you for this, but I'm going to continue to talk to you and play like I like you to get something else from you, so to speak. And I think that that also plays into people not knowing what they qualify for, because you may think you're qualifying for a relationship, but in actuality, he just sees you as being right for the bedroom for tonight. So,
Yeah. Well,
now,
I was gonna say no. I was gonna say about shooting your shot. I just think, you shoot your shot, but know which game you're playing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you go ahead, you shoot your shot, but then if you miss, you can't get upset. You keep playing the game. You know what I'm saying? You just keep taking shots. At some point, you'll realize I keep trying to shoot threes. I can't make the three. So let me move up a little closer.
you can't tell. Listen, you can't tell the basketball players because they're
No.
gonna keep trying to shoot them threes.
And I might need to, do that layup, or you know what I'm saying, or take that shot, get the 2 points. So I think that's the thing, is that a lot of times, like you said, now that we think that we have access to people because of social media, I can hit them up in their, IG, or whatever, in their DMs or whatever. So in your mind, you're thinking you have access because they're gonna read my DM, and I'm going to be impressed, impress them or what have you. So I just really think a lot of times is that because of where we're in the space that we're in now, people are overshooting, and not, and get upset when they miss, and get mad at the person because they're like, nah.
No, but I think that to tackle what, to see what you're saying, but a lot of times I think that it's harder for women to understand, because if a woman shoots, if a decent looking woman, she may not be the woman, if she shoots her shot, he's gonna take her on. It's just that she doesn't know why he's taking her on. That's the problem. You don't think that, so a decent looking woman goes to a guy and shows interest, he's gonna be like, okay, he may not want her to be a wife. He might not want her to be, his girlfriend.
So
But he's not gonna let that opportunity.
no, so Shane, if we're gonna have this conversation honestly, I think we should be really honest, right?
You don't think that?
No, and here's why. I think if women thought like that, more women would shoot their shots. I think women are more so, if not equally, afraid of rejection as men are. I think that's why most women don't shoot their shots, not because they don't understand the intentions, because you can figure that out if that man gives you a chance of what his intentions are, why he accepted you shooting your shot. But I think women are actually afraid of rejection. They're afraid if I shoot my shot that this man's going to shoot me down, and that they are averting the humiliation to that. But men are told, you got to be a man and just suck it up and take it on the chin if that woman turns you down. I don't think it has anything to do with intentions. I think it's all ego.
Well, I
Okay.
also a little
One
quick
one
back
second.
on
I want
that.
to clear something up real quick.
Okay.
I was like, I can't let you get away with that. We men are taught to shoot our shot from the age of 12. So I'm gonna tell you, most of us are not afraid to shoot the shot. There are some. I'm not saying all. I'm not saying all, but on the whole, we'll take that shot, regardless if it's a low percentage shot. We'll shoot that bitch from half court. We'll throw that Hail Mary. We'll shoot the shot.
Well, what I was going to say is that I think the opposite. I don't know if there's a little bit of social conditioning with women shooting their shot, because a lot of times we're socially conditioned to not do that, and that the man is supposed to chase,
He is.
things like that. So I think now we're getting into a time period in which for women, shooting their shot is becoming more acceptable. But I think it all depends on what age range, what group you're in. Like from my generation, women, you didn't do that. You give signals to let a guy know that you're open
That's
for
shooting a
him,
shot.
for him to come to
No,
you.
but
When
shooting
I say shooting your shot, I'm thinking that you're the one that's initiating the approach.
No,
but
my idea of let me clarify what shooting shot to me. I think that you're shooting your shot, even if you sit down at a bar and a guy, he's like, "Hi," just do a little flirtation. It's like an invitation. That's still you take the initiation on that. To me, is still shooting your shot. It may not be like the guy, but I still think of that as shooting your shot.
yeah,
How can you
shooting
get rejected doing that?
right.
Right. That's
Marcus,
my
what did
point.
you just say? What did you just ask?
How can you get rejected when you're doing it?
That's
That's what
what
I'm saying.
that's why I don't think shooting your shot is just like, hey, no, shooting your shot is you're actively pursuing. And that puts you in a position that you may get rejected. If you're just sitting there at the bar, you're like, and he never approaches, no harm, no foul. But if you're trying to engage and show interest, then I think that puts you in a position of where you can get rejected.
But
I
I
love
think
this
Well,
basketball
to that
analogy.
extreme, yes. But because
no,
most guys, when you even shoot your shot just a little bit, they're gonna be like, all right.
no,
They just
So,
are.
I
so
think
I was
Go
always
ahead.
taught that dating is the one thing where you could take 99 shots, miss 99 shots, and hit the last shot, and you 100%, because you only have to score one time. So it don't matter. Like if you feel like you're being rejected by somebody, make up a backstory in your head, like she either got a man or she just missed the best thing ever in her life, and keep it moving and go to the next person. And I think if men did that, they wouldn't be angry about getting turned down by the women they want. Now I'm interested in I want to drag this out. What Anea said about women feel like they have a fear of rejection.
yeah, I don't think that like so shooting your shot is not pursuing, right? I think that's something that needs to be made clear, and I think that's part of the social conditioning, right? Women are taught, drop the proverbial hanky, and like, if he's interested, he'll shoot his shot, right? Shooting your shot is initiating the conversation or interaction, right? That's it. You can still initiate and not lead everything, because that's the pursuit, is leading, right? You can initiate the interaction and not lead the whole time. But I think so many women conflate the two, that if I initiate, that means I'm going to have to lead the whole relationship, and so I'm not going to do it, right? I think also, if so many women are you know what, I'm just going to be frank, women have very fragile egos, right? Very fragile egos. So if you come up and you start talking to a gentleman and he's just like, one worded answers, very uninterested, like that level of rejection could easily ruin a woman's like entire rest of the night. Whereas to what AP was saying before, and Marcus as well, men are socially conditioned of like, okay, she turned me down, I'm going to go to this group of girls here and go shoot my shot over there. And he'll keep going the whole night until he finds somebody that will entertain him. Whereas women are just like that first guy that you were interested in. If he decides he's not going to engage in conversation, if he's going to say thank you but no thank you, even if he does it politely, like most women, that's it. The night is done. It's a wrap. And I think a lot of women won't do that because they're afraid of, one, the rejection is public. And even if it's like we're doing it through the DMs, I think women just like, because they're not taught to just keep going and that men should just naturally be interested in them, they don't know how to take that hit and keep moving.
So let's be
Okay.
let's be honest. Let's think of, because we're of age at this point, everybody up here. But let's just think about when we were in our 20s, early 20s, and we had that one friend who would go get that guy that number for us. That's you shooting your shot. Like, girl, go talk to him. Get my number. That's a shot.
Okay. I'm gonna say it. I gotta say it. So the choosing signals is you letting us know that we're open for the shot. That's what choosing signals are. You shooting your shot at us is like us getting fouled in the act. It's a free throw. Bet. And we're gonna treat you like a free throw. We're gonna go ahead and make them two buckets and throw up the deuces and go to the next one. Like we don't like women. Let the men hunt. Let the men go shoot they shot at you. When you shooting your shot at them, yeah, it's great for it could work out. I'm not saying it doesn't, but on the whole, thank you for the easy bucket.
So I was trying to think of times when women have shot their shot. If I was probably, well, let me see. In high school was the most like forward shot. I got like a note that said like, you know, it was a pretty sexual note, and it was just like circle XYZ. So I circled the stuff in there. I gave it back to her, and it, you know, and I'm like, I couldn't see her getting turned down with anybody doing that. Like it would be impossible. She was an attractive girl. She was like, I don't know, like y'all really have it easy when it comes to that. So I guess anything will feel like rejection if you never had to actually experience real rejection.
I think when more women, I mean, I agree with you when you say women's egos are fragile and women don't like rejection. Completely agree. But in 2023, women are more bold. They are more direct. There are so many women who do so many things that I wouldn't dream of doing. And to Mistaken's point, you know, back in the day, I think women were taught that men let a man shoot your shot. And yes, we may have been more passive with the signals. I never heard that the choosing signals. Is that
Yeah,
what you
the
said,
choosing.
AP? You know, we were more passive when it came to that, but women are definitely more direct now. Women are more like me, and I've seen women do all kinds of stuff that I'm like, oh, okay, that's how you move. I've
Free
seen
throw, two easy shots.
before my brother had gotten married, I read this note that this girl sent him that I wouldn't have sent that to my husband. It was just
Step it up.
it was ratchet.
Sometimes you gotta step up. Gotta step it up. That's it.
Yeah, so I do think that we're in a different time.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. I think now because the the market is so competitive that I think it is now where women are in a position where they are becoming much more aggressive with shooting their shot. So I think in some points, women who are subtle, I guess it all depends on a guy though too, who are subtle may miss their opportunity when you have more women that are being much more aggressive in trying to get the male gaze or the male attention. And so I guess now the idea behind, you know, especially if you're old, you know, like I said, in an older age range that we're in, how do you compete in a market where when you're conditioned to, you know, say, you know, you let a guy know that you're interested, but don't be too, you know, you be subtle about it, versus those who are becoming much more aggressive and saying, I'm not waiting for you to see, I'm going to just come to you and let you know that I'm interested.
So in this
Well,
day and age, you got AP.
no, I was just gonna ask, what results are these women wanting, and what results are these women getting? Like you like, sure you can shoot your shot, but like I said, it's a free throw. Yeah, it might be good for a night, two, maybe a month, maybe max, but are you getting the results that you want? I would argue that back in the day that the women would at least get the results they want, and they could turn down guys until they found the guy that they wanted, instead of just approaching some random ass dude. Hey, damn, you look good, baby. You sitting here at the bar. Hey, can you buy me a drink? Girl, please. You know what? Matter of fact, let me go ahead and get your first drink. Room 211. Come on up. Let's go. Holla at you. Have a nice day. Like, I think that's a very bad decision. I really do.
Okay, so what I was gonna say is I think that this is a unique era because I was talking to somebody the other day, and I think I would be a little more apprehensive of hitting on women in this era. Um, all the Me Too, all of the like getting posted on TikTok for working out, and then somebody say you looking at them while you working out. Like eye contact was a big thing. Like when you flirt with somebody, if you can't even look at people, let alone approach them, how are you genuinely supposed to meet? Like I know people say online dating this thing. I couldn't do that. Like I'm a vibe. Like I got to meet you in person. You know what I'm saying? So you can feel all my energy and presence. That's my go-to. I don't think online would ever translate well for me. I'm not gonna be
That's a
taking
fact.
pictures or nothing, you know what I'm saying, and flexing because that ain't what I do. You just have to see me living in life, and then you appreciate it or you don't. And how can you like just you really gonna have to be more forward nowadays? The whole data market changed. But what you describe, AP, I can see how that could not go all the way right because that could be a little too forward. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a way you can play it where you flirting and it's obvious you flirting, but you're not just putting it on the table, but at the same time you putting it on the table, but you're taking it off, and it's a cat and mouse. So you can throw the string out there and then get him to engage, and then you can, but make sure you let him know you ain't running for real. But you know what I mean?
Marcus, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? I think a lot of times when we talk about this shooting the shot, especially when we're talking about women shooting the shot, we talk about one extreme where they're so subtle that men are missing the signals, or they're so forward that all they're signaling is sex, right? But there's like this whole middle ground in between where it's playful, where it's engaging in real conversation, where, there's a little bit of subtlety, but still, like interest, right? Like I don't know how many times I've heard men say, I didn't realize this woman was interested. I thought she was just being nice or just being, especially if that man is attractive, especially if that man is attractive. He can't tell the difference of if you're just being cordial or if you're actually being flirting if you're too subtle. But those men, because they're pursued so often, are also very easily turned off by women who just lead with too much too quickly, right? There's still a way to still be feminine and still engage without putting absolutely everything on the table within the first three sentences. And I think to expect one extreme or the other is not unrealistic.
I think go ahead. Say that last part again, Enos, you went out.
I was
Out again. Oh, we'll give her 2 seconds to see if she'll come back. Oh,
Can
dang.
you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead now.
Can you hear me now? Okay, right. So I was just saying that to expect one extreme or the other is not only it's not only like unproductive, it's impractical, right? It's unrealistic and impractical. But somewhere in the middle of being your authentic self but still being playful and flirty is really where that sweet spot is. You're not too forward, but you're not playing too hard to get where this man is questioning if you're interested or not.
So if you and I'm thinking back how I was about 10 years ago, I was about 30, right? If you came up to me, and even no matter how subtle you are, once you approached me, my mind said, "Oh, bet it's on." That's really what I thought. So I can play this game with you. We can do this little banter back and forth, and we can chop it up. As soon as I make you laugh, it's a wrap. Like my mind is not hasn't gone long term relationship. My what I thought is like shit, even if it take a month, I'm gonna bust this down. Like that's real. Like the if I don't have to work for it, is it worth it?
Yeah,
Like
I mean, I think I
and
think
that's really the way I see it. If we don't have to work for it, is it worth it? So probably
no, that
not. That
doesn't mean
means
you don't
I'm
have
gonna.
to work for it. It just means she's taking the initiate. She's initiating the conversation. She's shooting her shot, but that doesn't mean that she's just gonna be going all in.
She's already so for her to come up to me, she already finds me attractive. That's what I know. Number one.
You are right.
So as soon as I know that, the rest is up to my lip service. Because I'm like you've taken care of a whole bunch of it for me. just by approaching me. You've taken care of a whole bunch of things that were question marks in my mind, where I would have to steer a conversation in order to find out more about you. Now I don't even have to know really anything except, oh, okay, you find me cute. All I got to do is make sure I have a brain in my head, make you laugh a little bit, make you chuckle, and the rest is a wrap. Like it is really that simple. Now, on the other hand, if you're giving me, like, we catch eye contact, you're giving me that choosing signal, hey, come over and have this conversation with me. That's a different animal, because then I have to steer the conversation. I have to ask the right questions. I have to be engaging. Otherwise, you're the one that's kind of the other way around. You're the one that's kind of moving the conversation. I'm letting you talk, get through it, and it's like, bet, cool. And in my mind, I've already decided how long it's actually going to take through the conversation to get your draws.
I call
Like,
cap.
I'm being real with you.
I
Like,
call cap too. Maybe that's just, we can't say, because
shouldn't
maybe
me?
that's just the way AP does his.
Well,
Okay.
in this space, a lot of guys were saying that though too. That, well, I think all guys, kind of like what AP was saying. What one of the things is that what they were saying in this space, most guys, well, just about all guys, that whether, I guess it doesn't even matter whether you approach or they approach, the end result is that they want them draws one way or the other. So I think that part, but I think what AP is saying is, if you approach in his mind, and maybe a lot of guys think like this too, that in his mind, I know my end result is I want those draws. But if you approach me first, that makes me think that it's going to be an easier or shorter amount of time for me to get those draws, because now I know you're interested.
It's
Gotcha.
definitely a quicker path.
Well,
So
we'll see.
Because I won't say that women don't approach. I won't say that, because they do. And that's an easy path. It's like, this is not something I'm making up. Like, this is just the way it is. You come up to me, like, not now, because I think different at 40 than I did at 30. Let's
Okay.
be very clear on this.
I agree. That does change.
But you would approach me, like, if you approached me, I like, my history tells me that is a fact. Like, bet, cool. But when you make me work, I am way more interested in you. I'm more interested in what you got going on. I am more interested in how you're living. I'm more interested in your family, because I'm digging that information out of it.
All right.
But if you come up to me, my mind said, easy, bet, cool. Free throws.
So that makes perfect sense to me. But I think I'm the opposite, because like, I don't be liking to play a lot. Like, because I kind of feel like if you like me and we vibing, then I'm not gonna hold it against you as far as moving forward. You know what I'm saying? I get why because a lot of my homies feel that same way, like the exact same way. Like, no,
But do you feel like that now that you live life and you're older, or did you feel like that when you were your younger self?
I think I always felt that way.
Okay.
I think I always did. I can't really remember that far back exactly, you know what I'm saying, that emotion. But over the last 15 years and me thinking about it, yeah, because one day Ricky was saying, you're not that handsome, you're not that swaggy, or you don't got XYZ, so don't expect that women just do something just for you. And I was thinking in my mind, like, I must have bought him to the delusion. So because I kind of believe that. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't hold that against her, because like I just want to hold it against her. I listen to the list of the things that the women would say that they were attracted to. I'm like, okay. Maybe not 100%, but I'm close. If not, you know what I'm saying? So I shouldn't have that much trouble. So I don't know. I just never hold it against a woman that was attracted to me like that. Or that was, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't say that she was going to do it together.
Okay, go ahead. We're going to sum this up because I got to go to the video with Nas, and if Chaotic had something to say, go ahead.
Yeah. I want to go back to, like, I appreciate you, Marcus. I really do. I want to go back to what AP said and why I call cap. Just because a woman approaches you does not mean she's any easier than the woman that doesn't, right? And I think that's the male ego that goes into play with these things, right? Because the amount of times that I've seen men get approached by women and that woman doesn't put out in that time frame, and all of a sudden he doesn't know what to do with her, It like it literally, like I've watched men stumble because they're so used to like their algorithm, right, that they operate in. The second that woman steps outside of the data pool or data set that they normally operate out of, it totally throws them off. That doesn't say that some women are not going to fall for the trap and just be like, okay, this man's putting on a show because I showed interest first. I'm not saying that. It happens. This is real life. But to automatically assume, I think, is so presumptuous that a woman is just going to part her knees because you made her laugh because she decided to show interest first, especially in a room full of women. Like we were talking before the show started about places like Atlanta and what the experience is like for women there, right? If there are certain arenas where if a woman is not presenting herself, she gets lost in the crowd. And then we talk about, especially on the internet, what did you do to make sure that you were seen, that you were spotted, that you were noticed? What did you do to make sure that your husband could choose you because you were presentable, right? We can't have that conversation and also say if a woman shoots her shot. I'm not talking about leading a relationship. I'm not talking about pursuing a man. I'm talking about strictly shooting her shot. We can't have that conversation about what did you do to make yourself noticeable and then shame women and say like you're just an easy lay if you are shooting your shot. I think we can't. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I
Like,
think that you are. I think that you are. If you're not the one he's looking for, if you don't qualify for the guy, I think that he's looking at you as an easy lay. If you don't qualify, he's not gonna deny you. But if he's seriously interested, he's like, oh, then maybe not. But let's just be honest, that's not most of the time. So the women who shoot their shot and she's not that woman for him, she's what he's looking at as an easy lay. That's what he's looking at her as.
and the woman that shoot a shot is already not the girl for me because she shot her shot. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you.
Right.
She didn't wait for me. She don't know anything about me. She don't know how I sound. She don't know how I start a conversation. She don't know how I engage. Those are things that y'all peep when men first approach. How did we engage you? Did I come up to you, hey, foxy mama, hey, let's go to room 211, or did I say, hey, what book is that you're reading? Hey, my name is
So if a
Stacy. How
woman
can I
comes
help you
to
today?
sit beside you, she should sit beside you. She sees you, you say hi, and she carries on a conversation with you. You're automatically
That's not her necessarily shooting a shot. She could be lonely. That's not the same as shooting a shot. Having a conversation is not the same as shooting a shot.
If I have a conversation with you, I'm probably shooting my shot.
And
they're entertaining everybody. You know what I'm saying?
and when you lean in during that conversation, I know you're shooting your shot.
You play with your hair.
Like there are always tells that you are shooting your shot. And as soon as you do, like as soon as I recognize it, it's a wrap. I'm just telling you how it is. Like the way, so that's where my mind has gone. I'm like, bet shit, this is gonna be a short night. I don't have to peep the
But you
room.
know
I don't have
what's
to
so
scan the
crazy?
room. And then once I determine that you are not, that I'm not gonna be able to bust you down that night, my mind said, okay, how much time am I willing to invest in this woman that I'm not gonna spend the rest of my life with? And I'm just gonna spend a couple nights with. I do that, and guys will play the long game with you. Guys will go along, let's call it maybe max 3 months, bullshitting with you just to get your draws because that's the goal that they set. Period.
I can agree with
Like
that.
you can't call, like I understand Enos, that you call cap, but as soon as you approach a man, if you're looking for marriage, that is going to be unlikely. That the odds will not be in your favor. But anyway, I've carried this on, and y'all know I can drag a subject out. What's up, Chaotic?
I would gladly say what's up to you with the same energy, sir. But I'm shocked and appalled at you right now, AP. Salute to you, by the way, sir.
Let's have the conversation. I'm good.
I don't know, AP, whether you're trolling or, well, first of all, guys, AP salute, Shan salute, Mistaken, this ISIS 10, and Marcus salute, positive is going your way. I came in on the tail end of what AP said. Now, maybe there was some context before that, but did I hear this man respectfully say that he would prefer to pursue a female? That's absurd. Um,
Yes, I said that.
is AP? I'm shocked.
Chaos, you're
I,
supposed to pursue women. You're
I've
supposed
said,
to.
wait, give me a second, Shan. I've said this over and over and over again. I don't know. Oh, hold on for a second. What? Oh, there we go. I don't know why people don't listen to me in YouTube streets and even in real life. People think I'm trolling, and I'm not. It took me years to figure this out. Men are the prize. Men are the prize, not women. By God's own ordination, men are the prize. We are the top animal on the planet. We are superior to every other animal on the planet. Now, can I get into a lion's den and beat a lion one-on-one? Of course not. But I have the power to trap it. I have the power to kill it from a mile away. By the way, I've never killed an animal from a mile away. Men are at the top. Society has been created by men. The roads, the skyscrapers, the guns, the computer that we're on right now, Wi-Fi. My God. We are literally made in God's image. Women come second to men. And then children, and then the animals, and that's that. So by knowing this secret, even an ugly little short nigga like myself, I've been walking through life on easy mode before I got married. I've had women, well, not really a lot, maybe, under 100, but over 50, approach me, talk to me first, get to know me, because that's how it's supposed to be. I see where AP's coming from. Trust me, AP, I do. But a godly woman or a conservative woman who says, you know what, Chaotic is a nice guy. He's smart. He's intelligent. Let me approach him and let me show him how much of a feminine woman I can be. See, a lot of men aren't looking for well, if you're younger, you really are. When I was younger, now that I'm older, yeah, whatever. But a lot of men are just looking for comfort. And if you are a woman, there's nothing wrong with approaching a man. Now, if you are it's all about setting. And I get where AP's coming from. So AP, for example, I don't know if he drinks or not. I don't know where he's at. But let's assume that AP's at the bar. Of course, if a woman approaches you at the bar, a nightclub, of course, any man will logically think she might just be a jump off. But if I'm at the library or if I'm at some, nice place like the art
Barnes
museum,
and Nobles,
if they're still open, and some woman approaches me, I don't have this idea of just getting coochie immediately after. This is before I was married. If she approaches me and she's sweet and she's nice, she has books in her hand, and depending on what type of books, what type of magazines, then you can look all into the sky all you want, but I'm telling you some secrets here. A woman has to make the initiatory steps with a man. Now, again, if you are at Starbucks, that is a perfect place for you to see a man dressed well, nice, and say, "Excuse me, sir, who are you? What's your name, sir? Are you with some?" That's how I literally should be a relationship coach for women, because I know how a woman should, because this is how I would want to be approached, or how I've been approached before. Of course, you at the bar and some sloppy chip, hey, you're like, she might got some, But again, if you at the library, you're working on something, you're in school, that is the place where it is appropriate for a young woman to approach you. Men, if you're listening, especially, I did a video about this on Lapeef the other day. If you are a young man, you don't have to pursue women. You don't have to. Because here goes the thing. A lot of women now have an over-exaggerated sense of importance because of social media. You have midgets now. I saw the video the other day. I talked about this on Lapeef. I saw a video. It was
They're
a girl.
little people.
Just, oh my God, here we go. I guess, and I guess we can't call return. Oh, no, I don't want to say that. I almost said it. Wait a minute. Now I'm an educator too. I know, but that was before the DSM, whatever they changed it. Well, here goes the thing. Social media is telling the dwarf or the little people that they are Naomi Campbell now. So now you have men getting rejected by women who knew their social hierarchy back in the 90s when I was a kid. See, when I was a kid, and I said this on the Lapeef the other day, the fat girl, or is there a word we should say for fat too, Shan?
Well, you can say she's overweight.
Okay, the overweight girl, Shan. Remember this AP back in the day would do homework. Would do your homework.
No, she didn't.
Overweight girls love doing my homework. And I'll tell you something else, Shan. They would be so happy that I would even call them. Hey, what's up, girl? Oh, hey, chaotic. Oh, did you do my homework? Yeah. You got it in the school tomorrow for me? Yeah. See, they love that. But see, now even the morbidly obese females, they don't understand their hierarchy. But we have to go back to those days. So if you are a young woman in the chat, dress nice, conservative, and approach a man that you believe is a upright man. Get off of this catty, I need to be approached mentality, because you see that ain't happening now. A lot of men now are divesting. A lot of men now are going to other countries, passport bros, and I leave on this note, Shan. Shan, I knew girls. I went to Kent. I shouldn't even say this, but I went to Kent State. I knew girls at Kent who were single, and I know them now, and they're damn near 40 and single. That's all I gotta say, because they have this prissy attitude. But see, if they would have listened to me, they would be married, because men are the prize. And then the older you get, now I think AP is trolling. He knows it because he's older than me. The older you get as a man, you know that your stock value goes up and that women should approach you. And if you are a 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old boy in the chat, 17, you're still in high school, and you kind of like a square, most boys are squares, corny kind of. Listen to the chaotic truth. Let me lead you. Because I know, listen. I know. I used to take my, back in the 90s, early 2000s, get my little notepad and go out and, hey girl, girl, you're so, man, forget all that. That's too much time. You got to have a girl come to you. And on that note, what say you guys? Salute to everybody in the chat.
So I got quite a bit of pushback
AP.
for you.
So we gotta hurry. We're gonna move on to the next one. So make it fast, please.
And AP, you should really get a deal with Reebok, because I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to go out and get some Reebok. So you're giving them free advertising. And I don't think that's fair. You should get a deal with them, because for some reason you're making it look like I gotta go buy that. Go ahead.
First of all, as an athlete, all the way through school, all the way through college, women coming up to me was never an issue. Let's go ahead and start. I'm gonna start there. Second, my question to you is, did your wife approach you, or did you approach your wife? I'm just curious, because you kept saying, except for my wife, and you said it 3 separate occasions. I'm just curious.
Sir, my wife came up to me first.
And what was the location? Where were y'all at?
Again, sir, my wife came up to me at a coffee spot, at a coffee shop.
So that's the only with me. That's the only time I agreed with just about anything you said. Location matters. Setting matters. That's the only thing I agreed with, was setting does matter. Absolutely, it matters. But Shan wants to move on, so I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to get a little bit of back and forth. And no, I'm not trolling, actually.
And I do want to bring up that point, because I'm so tired of people saying like men think it's, because in that video, are you going to stay on chaotic? Because it's going to bring your point back up about the older you get, the more, I guess, options, and I will say that that is true for some men, but the idea that that is true for all men is not true, because the studies have shown that older men who are dying alone are suicidal, they lose friends. That's just what the research is suggesting. So if that is true, these old men in the street right now, all they gotta do is find them a young honey, but
Can I
they're
say
not.
one thing that I also saw was that I literally just got finished watching something where this was actually men who considered themselves to be high value men said that that is one thing that they do not like is a woman approaching them. And then I also saw where it was just saying like, one of the comments, which I agree, is that in these spaces, especially now, there continual talk about how women are trying to they're becoming much more masculine, and then this idea of now having women approaching men is only getting that even closer to women becoming more masculine. Like this is one extra layer of masculinity that men are, will basically have something to say about. Now you have women approaching men, like, and I do agree with that to some degree. I do think, and I don't mean the whole like women are becoming masculine and them approaching men makes them masculine, but I think the more aggressive approach is much more masculine. I think like how we were taught, and in our age, is you make yourself available, you show your interest, but in a more a manner that is not that aggressive. Right,
Right.
much
I think
more
that's
subtle.
still
Right.
shooting your shot, though. That's still considered shooting your
No,
shot.
but he's
Mistaken.
saying go up to you and
Mistaken.
let the man know that you're interested. I think that's not subtle.
Okay, I got you. Real quick, chaotic, so I can play this video.
Mistaken. No offense. Your big hoop earring ass is gonna lead a lot of females to hell.
To be married just like me,
No, hold on for
absolutely.
a second.
Because I
Wait a
didn't shoot my
minute.
shot with my husband. My
Wait a
husband
minute.
shot
Wait a
his shot with me.
Now wait a minute. Hold on for a second. Now wait a minute. See, I warn people about women like you, Mistaken, with these big ass hoop earrings. I've made videos about it.
What's wrong with dudes?
Your earrings are an indication of your rebellious nature.
I actually
Now
agree
you're
with him.
telling women to
I
first of all,
dress appropriately for the occasion. There's a difference.
first of all, you're lying. Now I hear all this
I'm
all the time
not.
from black. Can I finish, please, before the video? I hear
No.
this all the time. I hear this all the time. There are black men who are single, who are depressed and suicidal. So what? When the hell has people ever cared about a man? But all of a sudden, no, when women figure it out, like, whoa, men are figuring things out here. Well, how about this? A lot of men are in nursing homes crying, and who cares? When have men, mistaken, when's the last time you ever walked down the street and said, homeless man, I'm gonna shelter you and put food in your pocket and give you a place to stay in the bank account? Never. So you could kick that with some 16, 17, 18-year-old girl that you teaching, but you ain't kicking that with me. I'm almost 40.
Kicking what? I haven't done that with a man, but I have done that with a female, a homeless female woman.
Mistaken. You trying to garner sympathy for some phantom old man crying somewhere because he thought that he was high value and I ain't got nobody. A lot of men, believe it or not, Mistaken, don't want nobody around them. Sometimes I don't want to. Mistaken, you know how long I go sometimes without even seeing my parents. Sometimes a lot of men like solitude.
I like solitude too.
Even the older I get, the more I don't want to be around people. I'm a part of one of the greatest fraternities on the planet. I was always social. Sometimes I don't want to be around nobody. So don't use your tricknology on me. See that big hoop earring tricknology that don't work on me. That might work on one of your students. That might work on one of your students, but don't work on me. And AP, you know what? I feel a certain way, AP. See, I was joking, AP.
So what do you know about this? When
okay,
when you do this,
on.
Real quick. I think AP was trying to say something. You AP. Now I didn't play college sports, but you trying to say that I wasn't an athlete?
No, I was going in reference to what you were talking about with women approaching. That's all.
Okay.
Chaotic, what
You got to understand the context.
What sport you play, Chaotic?
I
Right,
ran
John the
track.
Baptist, $5.
Dodgeball.
High school. I wasn't really an athlete. Yeah, sorry.
John the Baptist, $5. Let Chaotic cook.
Nah, I'm
What?
good.
Cook what? Mess? John the Baptist, Chaotic is dropping knowledge. Dang, John the Baptist. Is that you, Chaotic? You're John the Baptist?
No.
No.
Call a spade a spade. Stop with the word police. I don't know what that was in reference to. Ray Alexander. A man's stock only increases in value as he ages. If the man increases his income, wealth, and socioeconomic status, otherwise he won't win with women.
Period. Isn't that what the people say?
Period.
You got to do the hand thing too.
What's it? How did it go?
That's it. Yeah, I wasn't gonna do it, but I know what it looked like.
John the Baptist, $5. Ruth chased Boaz.
Thank you guys for the super chat. So we're gonna look at a video which kind of goes along with this a little bit. So let me pull it up. Y'all know I'll be slacking.
Big five, power five. Yep. So break down how you kind of came up with this metaphor, and then go even further as to what women are looking for and what these power five guys are really looking for in a woman.
Okay, the first thing was listening to what women say they want in men. It's what women say they want in men, and it's understanding the type of women that they have to be, that those men are attracted to and actually want to commit to. That's the first thing. So the power five concept is looks are important to women. Character is important to women. Character should be important to men as well. And that's one of the things that often get overlooked, because a lot of guys think if I have money, if I have status, if I have power, then I'm attractive to women. But you actually need character to be able to retain those women. You have to be a man of principle. You have to have some integrity, stand on some things that's important to you, have some discipline. The status is what it is. Women are attracted to status. If you want to attract women, you need some status, because back in the ancestral days, hunter-gatherer societies, the way a woman could get her status was through a man. That was how women created their status, and it also signified resources, which is what women are looking for in mates most of the time. A guy who has resources, that signifies that he's able to be a competent caretaker. He can provide for her and her kids. He can provide the optimal environment for that family to sustain, thrive, survive. And then
So what did you guys think about the video? Do you think that the women are delusional in one? Because I think that he was hitting on something. Is any woman on here who disagree with what he's saying?
Mm-mm.
So do you think that women are delusional for wanting these things out of a mate, or not settling for anything less than these things, those qualities?
I don't think they're delusional in wanting those things. I think that some women are delusional in that they are the person that man is looking for. I think when that man touched on women having character, I think there are far too many women that focus solely on their physical appearance and not enough on actual character, that they don't actually match up with the person that they're intending to partner up with.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think it's a fair request. I think maybe the amount of what you're requesting, like the baseline of it, is fair, but the amount of the request, it really depends on being able to attain, what do you call them, power five guys. Yeah, I don't think that you go ahead, go at it, because I changed my shirt. I was cold and I kind of missed the part of it.
Hold on. Hold on. I think that it has more to do, again, a lot of these things have to do, in my opinion, with the age and stage you are in life. Because I really don't think at 20, if a 20-year-old woman is looking for someone who's within her, I'll say, age range, there just may be certain things in that power five that particular man have not been able to tap into or access yet. But it doesn't mean that he would never develop those skills. So yeah, I think it depends on the age and stage you are in life. And I think the problem now is that you may have younger women that are expecting men that's near their age to already have that power five. That's the delusional part.
Do you think
Well,
that go ahead? Did anybody else? I won't, because I didn't want to jump it. If
you
anybody
know,
wanted to add,
I don't come on panels to be controversial, though it may appear like I'm trolling. I'm not. I do this because I'm a messenger from the universe. I would, I've I've called myself Martin Luther King, Malcolm X in the flesh again. I've called myself this before on my own channel. I've come back. If you're 4'11" and you're a female, yes, you should want a man to provide for you. But you cannot act like Naomi Campbell of the 90s. You can't. Naomi Campbell was 5'11", one of the most beautiful women, if not the most beautiful woman ever born. You can't act like that. You can't be 4'11" and expect the Michelin star restaurant treatment. You can't. I'm sorry, you can't. Not at 4'11". Now, can you expect a man to buy the groceries, provide in that manner? Sure. But when you are the height of a 4-year-old and you're 27, you can't act like, you can't make too much demands. When you have purple hair, like the female that was in that video, even though she didn't say anything, you can't have demands of a conservative woman. You just can't. If you have purple hair, I've dated many, well, not dated, but slept around with many women who've had colored hair. I treated them like the way that they are. You're a clown. What the hell you got purple hair for? Blue hair. You're a clown. So you can't go to, hear me out, you can't go to the steak dinner. We can go get some steak from Applebee's, but we're not getting steak from Ruth Chris. I'm not taking you there. You can't demand that. So yes, a woman should be taken care of, but a woman also has to look a certain way, be a certain way. Her decorum has to be a certain way. Guys, I'm the Negro whisperer. I'm telling you, man, I've been sent by the universe as a prophet of sorts. I've been like this since I've been in high school. And I've told so many girls this before, and men, and even myself. Listen, I'm short. I look like a California raisin. I can't just exist if I'm with a tall nigga. I got a lot of tall friends. I've noticed this about tall niggas. A lot of them aren't funny. A lot of them really don't have the, with
chaotic. Okay.
They can exist. I gotta be funny. I gotta do certain things for attention. And that's all I'm saying. Every human being is different. When you look like a supermodel, you could be a bad bitch up there sitting around and expect certain things. Oh shit, I'm pretty much not a super model, but you can't look like Celie from The Color Purple and expect a nigga to have a 5-bedroom house to take care of you. No.
All right.
So you're saying average women should be focused on average things.
No, I'm saying average women should be focused on things that accommodate their hierarchy. So an average woman, instead of waiting around for, waiting around for the millionaire or, hey, the city worker, the magistrate, the defense attorney. You ain't about to get the managing director of a top 5 company and you 4'2". You're not. You're just not. Go ahead.
Okay. So
Inaz had her hand up first, so we're gonna go to Inaz and then we're gonna go to you, Marcus. Okay.
Go ahead, Inaz.
Yeah. Thanks, Shan. I I always find it really interesting when I hear these conversations about respectability politics. To call yourself and this isn't a shot, it's just more so an observation. To call yourself the Negro whisperer as you're perpetuating white ideals is always interesting, because when we take a look at certain people like Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, Beyonce that have access. Regardless, you were talking about Naomi Campbell, so I'm sticking in the realm of celebrities. You can boo me all you want. But when we talk about certain things around respectability politics, we also have to have an honest discussion about where that comes from, why that exists, and why women who fall outside of that realm are so heavily reprimanded for that. Um, I don't think that that makes a whole lot of sense, especially when there are just as many examples out there, not just in Black women, but women of other races, other colors, that are still able to access these men within that. Now, in terms of character, personality, great, we could talk about that. A woman can change her hair color. Women can change their body types. That's surface level stuff, and especially if you have the means to do it. But if we're going to be talking about height when it comes to women, there are plenty of women who are celebrities, who are politicians, who are lawyers, who are women who are respectable, who are about, between, you said 4'11" and 5'2", I think were the references that you made, that still have access to these men. There are women who look like the women that you referenced from The Color of Purple, who still have access to men who can give them not only 5-bedroom homes, but 15-bedroom homes. I'm not saying that like this is the norm or the expectation that everybody should have. What I am saying is to perpetuate it as if it's impossible, as if it doesn't exist, as if you are not a good person who has character, who understands how to navigate the realms in which those men exist in, that means that that's not going to exist for you. I think you've taken the conversation to such an extreme that it's comical at this point, to be honest.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Marcus was next. Marcus was next. Hey, I'm sorry. Marcus was next.
See, mistaken. The problem, Shane, the problem is when you're dealing with chaotic truth, he doesn't operate like the superior Negroes that he speaks of. So he wants to interrupt and jump in. And when we're trying to speak, he wants to tell us how he's Negro. Well, I'm Negro-Damus as well, chaotic. I'm Negro-Damus as well.
Hold
on. And the ancestors have told me, they said chaotic. I said, who is that? They said chaotic. The California raising midget guy. I said, oh my God, ancestors, don't do that man that way. Come on, ancestors. Talk to me, ancestors. They said, he like black. I said, he like black women? Yeah, he love them. He be trolling? Trolling. Okay. So he do love us. Yeah. So then I said, okay, chaotic. I look down on him. And then I look down on him. I said, chaotic, stand up because I want to talk to you like a man. So when he stood up, I didn't see him no more.
God, dog.
So then I looked around and I said, sit back down, chaotic, because I want to talk to you eye to eye.
Okay, y'all. Okay.
I got one question.
So hold on, let me just finish this part. Yeah. So we sat down and said, chaotic, I know you don't understand this little fella, but I like short women too. In my big old size, these short women be sexy to me. Sometimes it make they little thing pop out a little further. So I just want to let you know, shout out to the short women that stick. Damn.
Yes, I don't agree with the
height thing. I know somebody that's 6'11" and married to a woman that
I have
4'11".
I have one question for Ina.
Okay, go ahead, chaotic.
Just one question. And I want everybody in the chat that's watching. And Marcus, you were absolutely funny, man.
I thought tall dudes ain't got jokes. I thought tall dudes ain't funny.
I got one question for Enos. Enos, are you at home right now? Well, that's not the question, but are you at home right now?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a photo album in the house right now?
Somewhere.
could you, and are you a woman of a certain age, meaning a woman over 30? You don't tell me your age, but are you over 30? You're old enough to know about the photo albums, especially in the Black homes.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question. Could you go find a photo album of when you were in high school, college, if you went to the military? Could you find a photo album, and in that photo album, can you find a photo of when you were with a man who was 400 pounds, 300 pounds, or under 5 feet tall?
Actually, my most recent ex was over 300 pounds.
Where's the photo?
I'm not putting him up on the internet.
All I'm saying is that women have standards and it's fine, but men, for some reason, when we have standards, it's always met with.
She just said her ex is 300 pounds.
I don't believe her.
What?
I don't believe her. I bet you she didn't date. I bet you never dated a midget.
I haven't, and I can be open about that. But here's the
Would
thing:
you
if
date one?
hang on a second. So
Would you date a midget?
no, I wouldn't. But here's the thing, right? It's not about the preferences. Having a preference is fine, but the thing is when we're perpetuating systems that intentionally marginalize Black women and we're not questioning those standards, that's different, right? Same thing when it comes to women and some of their standards. I've been on this show and others when it comes to Lapeef's and held women accountable for their standards when it comes to perpetuating certain stereotypes. I hold both genders accountable. It's not about you like what you like, cool, but do you actually like that thing? And I've said this before, Shan and Mistaken and Tan, and even Marcus and AP can attest to this. If you're not questioning what it is that you like, why you like it, were you told to like it, if you actually like it, then you're just perpetuating what you're being taught. You're operating as another robot within society, another cog within society. If you're not sitting there and actually determining and choosing for yourself what it is that you're actually attracted to, then it's BS. I don't buy your standards. I really don't, right? Because it doesn't make sense that all of these really tall dudes are, the majority of them, when we're looking at them, are with women who are 5'4" and under. Right? And you telling women who are that height that you don't get to have access to those things, when we see time and time again, every other basketball player has a woman who's 5'4" and under.
Name
Every
one.
other singer.
Name one. Name one. Who's the one?
Shaq.
Shaq plays basketball. Last time I checked, Shaq retired 15 years ago.
Did he not when he was
You
playing?
just said name
okay,
a basketball player. You didn't say
Shaq,
current.
Name one, and now we're getting into like the
okay,
semantics.
name another one then.
Kobe, but before he passed, his wife is
Mexican, so
she's
she
like
might
5'3", 5'2", 5'3".
Yeah,
So
well,
like we're not, and like singers are the same. Men who were tall, Marcus has spoken on his height so many times and literally just said to you that he likes women who are shorter, right? So I don't know why we're getting into these semantics and you're getting defensive about this, right? This is something that we're seeing in real life. Tall men are not choosing the women that are 5'11" plus. That's not the norm. So I don't know why we're having this conversation that like, if you're too short, then like you don't get to have access to these things, when we're seeing it time and time again, not just in the realm of celebrities, but your everyday average dude who happens to be that height.
Vanessa Bryant is 5'5".
It isn't.
And let me just Kim
Yeah,
Kardashian.
Nia Long, good one. Nia Long, well, he
Nia
was a
Long.
basketball player. He was the coach that she was dating, right?
He's a former player.
Oh yeah, he was okay.
Yes.
All of those Kardashians, except for Khloe, like 5'2" and under.
So I'm
tall on TV.
if I can jump in here real fast, and it won't take but a second. First thing I want to say is chaotic. My dog. You are not akin to Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, nor are you the Negro Whisperer. But I agree with the point you were making. You, as a female, I'm going to use the example that we saw, the pink or purple or blue hair, whatever color her damn hair was. In certain spaces, you got to be able to be taken serious. And when you look like a clown, you will be treated like a clown and treat like you're going to be treated as such. And most men who are serious won't take you serious when you're clowning yourself. So you got to understand the space, understand where you are, what you're doing, and who you're with, and what your man needs of you. That those things must be understood. In regards to height, that shit's kind of silly. It just depends on the woman. Now she can't be. I will agree she can't be 4'11", 220. Like 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 I can agree with that. But if she looks like all the four F's of, if she's all of that and she's doing the things that she's supposed to do, typically somebody she can be in somebody of quality's realm. She could qualify for that person potentially, potentially.
But so
But I don't think
often,
every woman qualifies for every man. I really don't.
so often we hear men though. When I because last week we talked about tribes. When did last week we talked about tribes? But so often we hear that men base all of their what they're looking for on physical. Especially in this space, it's all about the physical, the superficial. And I think that that's what ends up happening is now these women who are, maybe she's cute, but she doesn't really have anything going for herself. And so she's thinking, oh, I can get this guy, this doctor, and maybe she can because she looks good, but will it really last? Because they're just two very different type of, people. The compatibility are suitable, they're not suitable for each other. Do you think that that's where this is coming from? Because I don't think that it's ever been so much delusion as it is now, especially with YouTube coming about. I think that a lot when you tell people, oh, all you have to do is be cute and you don't have to have anything else, you just have to be nice looking and you get whatever guy, these high value guys, it creates a delusional thing for women because they're like, oh, I'm cute, then I can get this guy. So now I don't want all these other guys. I work at Walmart. Yeah, he works at Walmart, but I'm cute, so I can get me this high value man or this guy who's, really out of my league, in my opinion, because I look good, and because that's what's been selling. That's what people in YouTube.
I said this several weeks ago. She'll never end up in his space. Like, let's keep it real. She'll never end up in his space unless it's in a DM.
I don't
Well,
necessarily agree with that. I think women, yeah, I think women
Go
know.
ahead. I mean, go ahead, but I'll be damn.
Yeah,
Unless he's walking through Walmart.
no, I think women know where to go to access certain people, right? Like that's not really a big secret when it comes to women.
Why aren't they getting them then?
What's that?
If they know where they're at, why aren't they going and getting them? Why are they still on IG and why do we still hear them complaining? If you know where they're at, you gotta be in the lake that they fish at in order to be fucking picked.
Well, they may be getting picked but not married.
One sec, mistaken. I just want to finish my thought. I don't think these women have an issue getting these men. These men very often brag about how many women that they're running through. I don't think it's an access thing, right? I think the reality of it is that these women, because they don't have substance, don't have what it takes to keep that man, right? That man will take her for the night. They'll take her for, a week, a month, whatever. But in terms of a long-term relationship or it leading to marriage or something that's considered sustainable, that's not happening because women are relying so heavily on what their outward appearance is. That character that men are desiring out of women past just sex isn't really happening for a lot of women. But in terms of like running through these women, not only do these women have access through the DM, through the bars, through clubs, through more private, intimate spaces. Take a look at Instagram. Take a look at the, TikTok, whatever. These women are having access to these men all the time, and these men are sleeping with them, right? They're talking about them all the time. They're being exposed. The DMs are being exposed. They're sleeping with them. they're not keeping them because these women don't have that thing that these men are looking to keep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, women. So that is actually what social media has done, was created a access on both sides to where, like, men have always, men of great value, men of stature have always been highly desirable. But one thing they couldn't do in the past was frequent areas of women with low quality, because they were just, men who shouldn't be seen associating with such women. Now they can do so in secret through DMs. So that's where that access, social media has created an outlet for this to happen. That's why the thirst trapping is so crazy. Women know if I don't know the woman's name. I only see a username, but yet I know what both her ass cheeks look like bare naked. That should tell you exactly the way women talk in this society now, because they know that's flesh prompts a man's attention. That's biological. If he's single, he just wants something, you usually have to do something for that. So now he can just, oh, guess what? Her profile's not private. Is that on purpose? Absolutely. Go ahead and send her that little DM. You're trying to fly out. She's going to look at that blue check or look at the type of life you live. He a doctor. What? He a this. He a what? I mean, let me tell you, in the circles that I frequent, whether it's
Man, I hope she hit me back.
sorors or even women of like medium value or high value, the way men come at them, the way that the things that I've seen, like I've even given network opportunities to women thinking that it was a real networking opportunity. And the dude I tried to hook the woman up with for business purposes came at them sideways. So yeah, it's an access thing, and that access definitely has been streamlined for these people to meet and carry on now. So
Chaotic, you are really on one. You're special.
Well, it's not about being special, Shan. It's about the truth. And
it is not true.
No, and I've made videos about this, about the hoop earrings, about the natural hair, about the wanting to talk about this I'm an African queen nonsense, Erykah Badu. This is rebellion. And I hear a lot of rebellion on this panel. Now, Enos, no offense, is telling me about a standard that I'm applying for white folk. Well, let's be honest. Me and her are part of the same hypocrisy. She's in the white folk country. She got the white folk car. She got the white folk computer. She got the white folk internet. She wearing the white folk clothes. And to be completely honest with you, she damn near is half white folk. I don't even know. I ain't trying to dog her or nothing. She's cool. But we got to stop with this. Oh, we got to stop with comparing ourselves to whites and their standard of living. What are you talking about, the standard of living? You live in their country. If what I'm saying, if I'm trying to imply that women should adopt to more white standards, then move to Africa. That's all I'm saying. So yes, I like this country.
She is African. What are you talking about?
No, we got to stop with this too. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to insult anybody. Hold on for a second. Now, let's be honest. Me and Trigger Mike. Hold on, whoa. Let's not get to the race thing, because let's be honest. When it comes to Black Africans, me and Trigger Mike are the only ones. So let's be honest. But that's either here nor there.
No, hang on. We're not
here nor there. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about
No, because you made a really bold
statement, and
it was really presumptuous. No, it was.
Ma'am.
It was. So just one second. Give me.
I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just
but
saying.
You are. And this gaslighting is not cute.
I
so
can't believe this.
Taken said, I am 100% East African. 100%. Both Eritrean? Entire lineage.
Are you Eritrean?
No white. What's that?
Are you Eritrean or what are you?
No, I'm not Eritrean, but not far from.
Where?
I'm from Djibouti.
Okay, I'll give you that. Okay.
So denying my blackness, we're not.
No, but what I'm saying is that
I've never met a Djiboutian before.
Yeah, that's a landlocked country. I know all about Djibouti.
It's not landlocked. I'm gonna ask you to take a look at a map.
Djibouti's not landlocked. Hold on for a second. I'm gonna look at the map right now. I thought it was landlocked.
It is right above Somalia. It is not landlocked. It is right across.
It's right on
Yep,
the.
yeah,
Okay.
not landlocked.
Okay. Hey, look, I apologize, but what I'm saying is that what is so wrong with having white standards too? That's what you said earlier, right?
What's wrong with it? That's the question.
You had mentioned earlier that you had, and I'm paraphrasing
respectability politics. Yeah.
Okay, so what is so wrong with embracing a lot of white behavior as well for women too? You're doing it now. No offense, you're doing it right now. You're.
Can someone define white behavior for me, please?
What we're all doing now, we're speaking the white man's language. We driving his cars. You're advertising for him right now, respectfully, AP. So my thing is,
I'm asking that. I drive Japanese.
So I think
this is the problem when it comes to this conversation. Is right now we're having this conversation in English because that's the conversation that we all speak. I'm fluent in 2 non-colonialistic languages, so we're not going to play that game. I'm also very heavily educated. You're on mute. Very heavily educated in not only my culture but religion that is not whitewashed. You're on mute, so I can't hear you. So if you want to dialogue, you're going to need to unmute.
Why does English have to be a colonialist language?
Because it came from England, which colonized the majority of the world.
So you mean to tell me civilizing most of the planet is colonization?
Even there, that word there, you're civilizing, as if the civilizations that existed outside of colonialism are considered to be barbaric. What we're talking
Yes! Okay.
Barbaric. Wait. Okay, so we're not going to discuss how the Middle East brought over sanitary practices into the Western world. We're not going to talk about how mathematics and algorithms did not come out of parts of people that look more like us than the people that practice it and teach it.
They had bathhouses in Rome thousands of years ago. What are you talking about?
Then the bubonic plague when it existed.
Hang on a second. What was the bathhouses used for?
Bubonic plague happened in
conversation
Europe.
Not for bathing. You want to have that conversation? What were bathhouses used for? It was not for cleanliness. Let's talk about it. What were they used for?
What young boys.
So we're not going to play this game, right? Of like having this conversation about how damaging respectability politics is to people that look like everybody on the panel, despite the fact that you've tried to erase my blackness through those respectability politics. Sir, if we're going to have this conversation, let's really have it.
You mean to tell me African women walking around naked was comparable to the clothed women in Europe?
The clothed women in Europe were still sexualized with their clothes on, whereas the women who were not clothed were not sexualized in the way that they were.
So no African women were sexualized in Africa.
They were only sexualized once colonialism happened.
So you mean to tell me there was no prostitution, no sexualization?
I didn't say that. African women. I didn't say that. But your average woman walking down the street, barely covered, was not being sexualized. The women at the whorehouse in those areas were being sexualized. We're not talking about.
Let me get this straight. Let me get it straight because I'm hearing you out. Let me get it straight. So you mean to tell me?
Okay, you guys, we got to sum this conversation up a little bit.
No, I think Chaotic needs a little schooling. He said he was
schooling. She got a time machine.
He was a teacher, so let him
got a time machine or something. How does she know all this?
The same books.
Education. You mean the same books that the white people wrote too that you also say are the same crooked people?
No, I make the emphasis to read books that are not written by white people.
Ma'am.
Go ahead.
Black people. Okay, I don't want to get to a race conversation. I just want to end this real quick. We have to get off of this notion that we were just this perfect people living in harmony, butterflies and green pastures in Africa. I can't stand that. Are you kidding me? You think that the African blacks who are walking around naked weren't practicing prostitution and all types of things in those villages too?
I never said that.
I never said that. I literally referenced the whorehouses that existed in those places. So what are we talking about?
Ma'am, so there were no whorehouses in ancient Africa?
I literally said that they existed there and that those were the women that were being sexualized. What conversation are we having?
Ma'am, because you had said the colonizer's language, and I said, well, why? This is what I said. You said the colonizer's language. I said, why is it the colonizer's language? Then you said these people went throughout the world colonizing people, and I said, you mean to tell me bringing civilization is colonizing? And then you had mentioned about the supposed whorehouses and stuff in Europe, and I'm saying that why is it that whatever they do is wrong, and there's nothing ever wrong that we do? That's what I'm trying to argue here.
No. See, again, I think you're having a conversation with yourself that is different than the conversation that I'm having with you. That was never anything that I had stated, alluded to.
I could have swore you said that, but maybe I'm tripping. But go ahead.
Absolutely, 100%. Marcus is already nodding his head in agreement, and so is mistaken.
Oh my God! Come on, man.
That there is not only a history, but reported proof that still exists.
I think God
that was
did
the
that.
ancestors. They were saying they were trying to stall you out, Chaotic. They said even though you're doing this foolery, they want to protect you from what she's doing to you right now.
So here's the thing, right? is respectability politics is so incredibly damaging to people who look like us. It is like not only like repressing progress to people who look like us, but it's also considering a certain level of conformity.
You're not oppressed, ma'am.
We're not going to get into that. Is a
you're
whole
not oppressed. You're oppressed in America, the wealthiest nation on the planet. You're oppressed in America that has the wealthiest companies. You're oppressed.
She doesn't live in America.
You don't live. She live in. Well, she could tell you.
Where do you live at then? In this, I don't know where you live at.
North America, Canada.
You're oppressed in Canada?
I know. Are we for real right now?
You're oppressed in Canada.
We're not going to talk about what those look like. We're not going to talk about the overrepresentation of policing in certain neighborhoods. We're not going to talk about pay equity. We're not going to talk about human rights violations. Are you like chaotic? You have to be trolling. There's no way you live in the real world that they're trying to have this conversation with you.
I would love to. How about this? Let's go one at a time. Okay. Can I go next? Can I go right now?
You guys.
Can I go? Shine, give me a second. Can I go right now, Inez? Inez, I do live in the real world. I'll tell you some real stuff here. I got a free education through public schools. My parents were well-to-do, and I got a private education on top of that. I went to a university that had all types of resources that were available to me. I got my master's degree from another university that had all types of resources available to me. I could have been anything in the world that I want. Well, you probably can't be the president, but I could have been anything in the world that I wanted to be, depending on what I applied myself to do. I live in a country that the military definitely does their job. There are no foreign invaders coming over here. I live in a country where I don't have to be worried about ethnic cleansing or religious cleansing. I live in a country where I make more money. I may have more opportunities than any other African in the diaspora. I live in a country where I by birthright am better than almost every other people on the planet. That's including whites and Asians, just by the fact that I'm an American. I live in a country where people literally die to get over here because of the standard of living. That is how I live. I live in a country where I've gotten pulled over for speeding and given the officer my ID and registration and went on about my day. That's the country I live in. I don't live in a country where I blame everything on victimization and whiteness and all that and ancient slavery and colonization. That has nothing to do with me. I don't think it happened to that scale. All I'm saying is that you can't trick me with your feminist ideology. You can't trick me into believing that there's oppression in this country. You have all groups of people come over here. You have people who come over to this country. Literally in 1 year, they're millionaires. You got East Indians who come to this country. They live in a small bungalow house. There'd be 20 of them. They work hard at McDonald's. They save up all their money, and they literally will buy chains of restaurants. That's what I've seen. I've seen people come to this country and living in this country for generations. They become doctors, lawyers, engineers, mathematicians. What are you talking about? I'm a part of a fraternity, literally, that has I have a fraternity brother right now that is the mayor of a major U.S. city, Cleveland, a fraternity brother. So this is not, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll tell you something about oppression. I dated not at the same time. I dated 2 Rwandan girls in college. You know what they saw in Rwanda? They saw their families massacred. That's oppression. I knew a girl from Liberia who lived in Liberia under Charles Taylor during the Civil War. That's oppression. This in America is not oppression. The jails in America, which, by the way, I worked in, my first job out of college, I was a probation officer. I was in and out the jails working with my clients. The jails in America are way better than the jails in Africa. They're way better than the jails in most South American countries and way better than the jails in most Southeast Asian countries. And this, you're not talking to some liberal black man. You're talking to a Negro who literally is the Negro whisperer. And on that note, Shan, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I just want a second to rebut. I won't be as long-winded as chaotic. So again, with this mislabeling is incredibly patronizing, to be honest.
On, built like a conquering king. Come on, man.
I'm not a feminist. I've never shared any feminist ideals. I've never identified as a feminist. I don't believe in feminism. That's not something that I ascribe to. So to label me as a feminist is absolutely patronizing simply because we just disagree. That for starters, we're just going to start there. Secondly, I respect your experience. However, your experience is the anomaly when we take a look at the experiences of the majority of Black people, and to ascribe your experience to be what exists in the entirety of North America, not just the US, but Canada as well, I think is really dangerous rhetoric to be sharing, to be honest.
We share the same experience, chaotic. I just want to say that.
And that's fair. Those experiences exist, and me expressing this is not to negate your experiences. I love that for you. I wish that more people had those experiences. However, when we take a look at the continuing building of privatized prisons, when we take a look at the conditions in which prisoners live in, when we take a look at the rates in which people are being incarcerated, which requires more prisons to be built, right? When we take a look at the conditions in which these neighborhoods are constantly being created, gentrified, recreated over time periods again and again to feed this system, that's not the experience in the majority, right? And you can agree to disagree. That's cool. That's fine. That's your opinion. You can back it up however you want to. But that machine cannot continue to grow at the rate in which it's growing if there's not something continuously feeding it. So I think to say that your experiences
Right about that.
are the general experience, I think is really unfair, because then it negates the fact that this thing is actually happening. And it also distracts us from actually talking about how the system is being fed, the people in which are actually being perpetuated within the system, right? It doesn't make sense to have that conversation, right? Because we're negating the experience of people who are being victimized by this, who are actually being negatively impacted by this, and not only themselves, but in which it's being perpetuated through generations. So you can agree to disagree. That's cool. We can have this conversation a separate time. I know Shan is kind of over this conversation, so
yeah, just chaotic. Just put the L in your pocket and let's move on, man.
I still want to know the amount of what's the percentage of
Marcus. No, come on, man.
No, we got to move on.
Let this Canadian tell you about their experiences.
We got to move on. We got to move on.
I still want to know what the percentage of innocent people are in jail. I mean, shit, jails are for a reason. What's the percentage of the innocent people? Come on, man.
They build jails for criminals. I worked in law enforcement. I was a probation officer. I worked in the courts. 9.99999 out of 10 times, if a Negro or a white man is in prison, he deserves to be there. A lot of men will tell you that. They'd be like, hey, man, I need a prison. A lot of men will tell you that they need a prison.
And that's why public defenders are perfectly equipped to actually fairly.
Yes, they are perfectly offended. Don't undermine. You I have a lot of Canadians who come to my channel, and you guys talk so much about America. You don't even live here. A public defender has a
I'm not just talking about from the American experience. I'm also talking about from the Canadian experience as well. They're
co-sign what she's saying about America.
Just saying.
Nah. They built prisons for prisoners. Okay. I worked in jails. Have you ever worked in jail?
Heavily policed populations don't create more.
Yes, heavily policed. Have you seen black neighborhoods? Of course, they're heavily policed.
Right.
Ooh, I can't ride with you on that.
You're lucky I'm not in power. I'll lock niggas up left and right.
What's that?
Right.
I said, you're lucky I'm not in power. I'll lock niggas up left and right.
Oh, I can't ride with you on that
The
one,
Negro
brother.
whisperer, right? So you shouldn't have to, right? Because you could just whisper some things into them to get them to conform to respectability politics. That's what you do, right?
I think what he said he's gonna whisper is, "I'll put your ass in jail if you fuck with me." So yeah, that'll get a lot of people's attention if you actually do it.
All right, next subject.
All right, John the Baptist, $5. Blue hair is Burger King at best. E. Most women don't qualify for what they seek.
99.9.
Jason C. $5. The illusion of choice is a real concept. E. Shan, most men talk about just wanting a cooperative woman that's in shape and feminine. In fact, a lot of men will go down in looks for all that.
Factual.
That is a fact.
The accountability part. 10. Okay, AP. Enas, respect. Standing up for yourself and not being bullied. Good points on both sides, but you kicked his ass in the debate.
I think he's trying to get some ass after the debate.
I have never come for a Nas, not once.
Nas, I currently live in Canada. You are cap. There are a multitude of immigrant blacks prospering. There is no excuse if you want it.
She never said that.
She didn't.
Never said that.
Take your cape off, Marcus. Take your cape off, okay?
Oh no, I'm super.
I just was listening to NPR not too long ago. They was talking about kind of, for the natives that. Never mind. Eileen, 20. So how did 5 black officers take the life of a 29-year-old black young man if we are truly sovereign and live in a country that values black men? Seems like illusion of inclusion has programmed all of us. Cognitive dissonance.
Well, guys, I got to get the hell up out of here. This has been
Dang, Chaos, you rage quitting?
Did you really do that to him?
Look,
you ran him off, E?
Nas won. Like this before. Shan, mistaken. Nas, salute. Marcus, salute. Trigger Mike.
I'm gonna start calling you orderly statements. You're not chaos proof no more.
All right, guys, I gotta get up out of here. Peace.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Thanks, you guys, for the super chats. We have one more topic. It's getting late. We had 2, but we're gonna narrow it down to 1. So this came across on the Lapeef, the group, Facebook group, and I just thought it was interesting because I kind of agree, and I wanted to see what you guys thought. Can you read that? Is it too small? Mistaken?
I can if you want me to. You on mute, mistaken.
Sorry. Proof that pretty people are a problem. I read too far up. Sorry. Attractive people are more likely to have their relationship break down, new research has revealed. Beauties are more likely to have shorter relationships or get divorced, according to the people studying this kind of thing at Harvard. They studied how appearance affects the longevity of relationships. If you're hot, you might find it harder to commit. The results showed that better looking people had shorter relationships. So now we know why so many Hollywood actors often notch up several marriages.
So a young man by the name of Brandon posted this in the chat. But I went and I researched. I went to look to make sure if it was a factual, if there was indeed research. And I did find that to be true. So do you guys, what are your thoughts on that? Not most, but attractive people are more likely to get divorced.
I mean, yeah, I saw that study when it came out as well. I thought that it made perfect sense in this generation that we live, because it correlates directly with all the other information that's out. So women, and when really men that are more attractive have shorter relationships, but women with money also have shorter relationships. So it's like giving someone any extra reason to leave or use against your partner in a way is going to lead to you having a shorter relationship. It's almost like the more bullets you have in the gun, the more likely you are to use them if need be, right? So in the case of attractive women, I think something like that is going to be geared more toward women because you're going to look at, well, she is really, really attractive. She's getting hit on more when she's at the gym without her wedding ring on. So women who get approached more, right? They have what do you call it? Theft. So theft requires two things. It requires desire and opportunity. Some women don't got an opportunity to cheat. Some men damn sure don't have an opportunity to cheat. That's why they don't cheat, right? But if you're really attractive, if you're somebody who is always getting looked at left and right, you always having to say excuse me because people just roll up to you in the shopping mall and while you're grocery shopping, at some point when you're mad at your partner, it may be hard to resist, like, you know what, that doctor dude to try to get my number, let me go. So yeah, I think it's the desire and opportunity always comes the way of more attractive people.
And I'm gonna take Hollywood out of the conversation. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
I didn't
say
want her to read that far. It just was
Wow.
on the snap. It's okay. But go ahead.
what I will say is people with more options likely feel like they've always settled, which is why they see the sense to move on to something different because they have the option to, whether it's looks or money, just like Trigger Mike just said. The more options you have, the more likely you feel like that person's not giving you everything that you want, the easier it is for you to move on to something different. Just short and sweet for me right now.
Now, I just have, when they say beauties, do you think that they're only referring to women, or do you think that they mean in general attractive?
I think
Men
they
don't
mean in
talk.
general.
In general. And what I was gonna say, I do agree with that, because kind of like what AP was saying, is that typically when you're attractive, you have much more access to others than when you're, if you're deemed unattractive, so to speak. So I think it provides you with many more options, and because of that, I don't think it makes you feel like you have to stay where you are, because in your mind, I can always do better, or I can replace this one with somebody else much more quickly. So I can understand. I think I, could see where the results of that study are valid.
I think I think it goes for both men and women, right, in terms of attractiveness. But I think that social media has really changed the game on what access looks like. So, your attractive person next door now all of a sudden has access to people all around the world. It's no longer confined to the community that you live in, or, where you travel to, right? Like, it's, especially if your profile is open to the public, you really have access to anybody at this point, right? And so I think that with social media and the way that people are criticized for the partner that they choose, especially on aesthetics, I think there's this like fear of like, is this the best that I can really do? Right. And I think the moment that normal, average, like pain points in relationships come up, because of social media, I think people use it as an out of like, well, I can just go find somebody better. I can go find somebody better looking. I can go find somebody who can take these hashtag couple goals pictures with me, and at least, if nothing else, continue to perpetuate the illusion of the perfect relationship of perfect looking people, right? I think before social media, maybe the best looking people within a community would match up together because that was the illusion of the best that they could do. But now with like an unlimited amount of options, I don't know, I think people are refusing to work through their problems and are looking to just settle into something that looks good.
I like
Yeah,
that. Go ahead. Go ahead,
I
Mom.
think selfishness and vanity are like the main things, because I think two people can be attractive, right, and they can be together, and it not be an issue. But when you enter social media in, now they're seeking approval from outside sources, outside the relationship, and outside themselves. And it's that constant need for validation that will put you in a space where you start to wonder, could you have done better, or to insinuate, or you may actually be able to get somebody that you feel is more attractive. But the issue is it's just selfishness, because in a marriage, the ideal goal is to start a family, right? So you breaking up a family due to just feeling like you can trade up, and I think that's ultimately the most selfish thing you can do. Because your duty after you become one is to create new life, and then your duty is for that life to be taken care of by that unit. Anything outside of that is just vanity.
It also stated shorter relationships. I mean, even outside of marriage, just being in relationships, the relationships aren't very long. So
Yeah, people get hit on a lot. I would think if it's fresh, it's easier to get taken about the relationship. So I could see that, but I would have to know how they quantifying that though. Like how what scale are they?
So do you think that that's why there are a lot of attractive single people?
I think that's the reason for women. I wouldn't say that for men though, that y'all might find attractive. Okay.
You don't think men take advantage of being attractive?
Absolutely.
So there was a study, and I can't find it right now, but there was a study that was released where the more attractive a person is, the less trusting their partner tends to be, right? And they stated the reason for that, and again, we can get to like a debate of the how they collected the data, but the reason that they stated for that was that because beautiful people tend to be more superficial, that there had to be an ulterior motive into getting into an actual committed relationship, right? So whether it was like, we often accuse attractive women of being gold diggers. We often accuse attractive men of being philanderers, right? Like, he's just collecting a harem of women. Whether it's finances, status, whatever, right? That there's an ulterior motive outside of actual companionship. And they also surveyed just like average looking people. They didn't survey just attractive people. And again, I don't know how they quantified that. But they did find that like the more attractive you were, the less likely your partner was to actually trust you within the relationship. So to me, it makes perfect sense that these relationships aren't lasting long, because if your partner doesn't trust you, even if you have every intention on committing to that relationship, it's simply not going to last.
I think in order to make somebody trust you in that specific scenario, you probably would have to establish a bare naked truth that's hard for a lot of people to even come to terms with being able to discuss. Because a lot of times people hide parts of themselves from their spouse. Like I talked about this a lot of times before, but men will be attracted to women and pretend like they no longer see those women when their wife is around, or when they, attractive women is still an attractive woman. But because we have this commitment, it now is supposed to give us like a blinders that we no longer can see these people. We can't comment on it. We can't think none of those things at that point. And in order for the relationship to last, it's going to require you to be able to talk to your partner and they know, like, yeah, you're attracted to the actual type. Yeah, it is, but it is what it is, and it not become a huge issue. I think that those relationships probably fail more so due to honesty than just attractiveness. Like it's a multitude of issues that fall into.
I agree with you, Marcus, when it comes to man to woman. I think that conversation from woman to man
gonna go different. I agree.
Yeah. And I'll also even add to that, I don't even necessarily know that that's exactly it. I think that even those conversations don't solve personal insecurity if a person is not actively working through it. And the age of social media where people are altering their photos to make themselves seem more attractive, I think that there's always that thing running in the back of your head of like, I can't believe this person genuinely wants to be with me. And so you self-sabotage, right? And I think that is a huge part of that as well, of people ruining relationships with attractive people who actually want to be with them. Like, how many times in this conversation has it been brought up, like, character? Like, it's not enough to just look good, like character. So you have somebody who's attractive, who has character, who wants to be with you, but then all you're thinking is like, damn, this person really wants to be, like, they can't do better than me. And all of a sudden you start, like, being too lenient on the things you need to do to maintain the relationship, and you force it to fall apart, right? That goes for men as well as women. Everybody's equally guilty when it comes to that.
So, and
I don't think that's true. I don't think it's equally for men and women.
So not only are you right, AP, is because we don't exercise it the same. As we can see, men don't actually leave the relationship because of it. Women do.
You don't leave the relationship, but you leave the relationship. Cheating
No,
is
y'all are always saying that. Y'all cannot quantify a good enough number of men to say, well,
Mike,
half of the men, like, we don't leave. That if we're gonna play the game of absolutes, men don't leave relationships by and large.
no,
And
Mike,
I believe
give me one second. I think what
go
you're
ahead.
saying is really important, but I just really want to clarify this one super like minute important point. Men don't leave marriages. I don't think men don't leave
Oh
relationships.
yeah.
And I think that's a huge difference in what we're talking about. Men, I think, will often leave relationships, but once they commit to marriage, I think they don't leave. And
Well,
that's where
actually, women do initiate most breakups too. That's
It's,
actually women actually do initiate most breakups.
you know how you talk. I'm sorry.
But no, go ahead, Marcus.
So you know how you talked earlier about the rejection, and that it's really hard for women to go talk to men. It's extremely hard for men to end relationships. That's one of the hardest things that I'm sure every guy on here, if you've been in multiple relationships, was in a relationship at least a year almost longer than you wanted to be in that relationship. Is that not a fair statement?
About 5 years longer.
Yeah, and that's why I say at least. Because I don't know what it is, but we kind of like build our loyalty out where if you were there for me, I'm gonna speak for myself. I don't know if y'all all feel the same way, but if you was there for me or you was in my corner for real, even if I wasn't attracted to you no more, I still would stay with you. And some people be like, that's wrong because you're not doing nobody no favor by being with them if you're not. But the way my loyalty is set up, I would still be like, I'm gonna choose to stay because I'm not gonna leave you when I'm up, just because you're not up as high as me because you was there with me from the beginning.
I agree with you on that, Marcus.
Yeah, and I think men compensate for it in a different way. So the one thing about this particular discussion about attractive women is that, they are infinitely hypergamous. And the one thing about hypergamy is that women are starting to use it as an excuse to ditch. Right? Well, women are hypergamous. I want to get the best available. The funny thing is, traditionally, once you've been chosen and you say yes, the one thing that we don't really prop up is that you had the option to say no to a proposal. Once you say yes, you are saying that my hypergamy ends here. Right? So that is I think the promise that women broke, because men actually, by nature of not, it's a crazy statement to make, I know, in this time, but men are actually more loyal than women are. It's weird. The statistics support that men are actually more loyal because we understand and we compensate for it in a different way. When we're unhappy in the relationship, you might see us cheat, you might see us step out, but the provision and stuff like that, stuff where men go pay other women's rent, most men can't afford to do that. Most men can't afford to do that. They just getting their needs met a little bit with that shorty on the side, but they're gonna stick with the home that they built. All right, they're gonna bring their provision back. I think where modern women have gone wrong is that they try to turn that hypergamy chip on and think because a dude is in their DMs and they marry that he actually wants the same problems you giving your husband. No, he want that ass. He'll take the ass. He can keep the problems. So.
So you're saying that, but a lot of women who leave the relationship aren't necessarily trying to get married again.
So my uncle, he just a family member just recently had a divorce, and it was a similar scenario. As he aged, he making $260K. She gained weight. They was together. He stayed there the whole 23 years while they raised the kids. She was withholding, sex from him and all those type of things, right? He was still willing to stay in that relationship. She filed for divorce because she was listening to her single friends that was either alone or whatever. And now she's miserable and trying to turn the kids against them because the after divorce wasn't what she thought it was going to be. And I think that's the biggest mistake people make,
I
especially
agree.
women. Like you secured a man, especially in this environment, a black man. He's over every high value man. He fit all of them, 6'4", all of the little stats that they list, right? And she just left him on the curb because he cheated when they first got together, and she kept holding it against him for 20-something years.
You know what she did, Marcus, and you
Very
know what women are doing, which is why they mess up in this regard. Women use divorce as punishment. They don't even realize when they're taking it too far.
Yep.
Because I hope, like, women can read stats too. Women are actually very smart. They're very smart. You know your chances of getting another man are slim. You just want to punish the other man. Like, look at the interviews of women that have divorced their men, and like really get in depth to what they say outside of the surface argument. They'll be like, "I thought he was going to fight for his family. I thought, why does he need to fight for the family he already got?" You're trying to punish him by using the system of divorce against him, trying to spook him into better behavior. I don't know, naturally there aren't stats for this, but I'm telling you a significant number of women were just upset and just wanted him to make some kind of grand gesture and be like, "I can take your kids from you at any time, so you better stop acting up," and they let it go too far. But when they realize that, like, that turning the kids against the man, that is such a lack of accountability when they realize that they're the ones that might be blamed for ripping that family apart. They have to point the finger. So I don't know if y'all heard me earlier on I think it was my show. I said that I'm going to develop a hypothesis that women can't take accountability when men are present. I think it's natural. I think it's biological. Because women understand, like, people say, "Oh, we're equal." No, we're not. I think women actually know that we're superior because y'all enforce superiority on us in every single way on every single day. You expect us to be more aware. You expect us to be more emotionally capable. You expect us to handle what you can't handle. You know, like, you see what I'm saying? So I feel like women know when they're around a man, do nothing and accept blame for nothing because it's all on him anyway. Right? So go ahead, Inez. I see you want to say something.
Yeah, no, I don't totally disagree with what you said, right? I do agree that the majority of women struggle with accountability, especially coming from a man, because it can come off very harsh, right? I think I did say it earlier and you hadn't come on yet, Trigger Mike, but I was saying that women do fear rejection, fear putting themselves out there, and all of this stuff. And I think accountability is another aspect of that, where accountability can come off as rejection, right? So I agree with the majority of what you said. However, I don't know that women are asking for grand gestures. I think there's a certain level of complacency. Both you and Marcus did slightly allude to it, not only in this conversation, but a couple of other conversations around men's complacency and getting comfortable within a relationship. I think there's a certain level of attention that a woman requires, even long term, especially within a marriage, in order to keep going, in order to not only be respectful, but loving to that man. I think that most women's fear in a marriage, not just a relationship, but more so in a marriage, is that you get to that point where you're empty nesters and you have no idea who this person is. You've grown so far apart that, like, it doesn't even feel like partnership, submission, cooperation, whatever it is that y'all started off with, right? And I think that women are inefficiently communicating. I want to be paid attention to. I want to feel like this is still commitment outside of just paying the bills. That you were actually here. I think, Trigger Mike, the last time that we were on this panel together, you talked about your entire presence in the household. I think women really want that throughout the marriage and aren't communicating properly. They're doing it more so with reprimand. Like you were saying, they're using divorce as a tool to say, "Hey, I'm here too. I'm in this marriage too. I'm not just a child in this marriage, but I am your wife and I want to be treated as such. And I think so many men have become complacent within their marriages that they're just like, well, you have a home, you have food in the fridge. Yeah, I'm taking care of the bills. Like, what more do you want from me? And they're forgetting the fact that this person is actually making all of these sacrifices for them as well. And there's this lack of appreciation of both parts where women are just like, done. I'm done. Right?
Well, yeah, I see. I think that's what women report. I definitely have heard those things, those reports too. I think the modern Western woman actually wants too much. I think she miscategorizes some of the priorities in marriage and the realities of marriage. The reason I would say that is that we realize that some women would kill to be with American men. I think we talked about this last week. There are some women who have men who are wholly submitting to them and faithful to them. They can't even keep a stable job in other countries because work is so intermittent, right? So they're looking at it like, this guy has a job. He goes to work every day, because they understand the primary purpose of marriage for women is survival. It's not happiness. It's survival. That is the Western woman's problem. We think it's about happiness. You find joy. We're trying to live in the dopamine generation, and women are asking their husbands to supply their endless hits, supply them crack through endless dopamine hits like Instagram does. That is not our intended purpose. And that's why we will fail you. We absolutely will fail in that respect every single time, because we're not here to supply crack to women. We're here to be providers, and we're here to support that family dynamic so we can actually achieve fulfillment and joy through our service. At some point, that's why I realized at some point, when the children are gone, when grandparents move in, they get old, we were going to have to redefine and rekindle what it is to be in that marriage, right? And maybe start doing things with each other. But I think women, no matter what you ask them, they are unfulfilled. Here's why. The men of today are more amenable to every single female desire. Most of these men were raised by women. They have no problem washing dishes if their woman asks. They have no problem watching the kids if their woman asks, so on and so forth. And these women divorce these type of men more than they have divorced any man in history. So I think that stat speaks for itself. Nothing a man can do can actually please a woman. It's funny. The more y'all search for happiness, the more unhappy you actually become.
I give a
I got
little pushback with that, Mike, in terms of the divorce. And back then, the difference is I think conditions were set up differently in the past, which kept families together. It was the condition. It doesn't mean that the woman was necessarily happy in her marriage, or it was a happy marriage. The conditions kind of made her be there. But now that when you remove conditions that keep you in a position like that, you don't necessarily have a choice. And when I say conditions, I'm not just thinking about financially. I'm also thinking about social norms, societal norms about divorce. Back then it wasn't as acceptable, whereas now it is much more acceptable, and women have their own access to resources. So I also think that that's partly why you have the higher divorce rates as well, because the conditions are different now.
I just have a quick question for both Trigger and Marcus. Do you guys still date your wives? Do you still
Absolutely.
do you
I still
still
I still like my wife, so that'll continue for the foreseeable future.
well, well,
While I still like her, right?
what
People
I'm
be like, "Do you
asking
love your
is
wife?" Of course I do, but do I
what
like her? That's a different question.
the things you did to get her to say I do you still do them after she did?
Mm.
Okay, so for me, I had experience dating women before my wife, and I understood one thing: consistency is the key. So I wasn't gonna start doing something that I was unable to maintain. And
Yeah.
I've been real. And if it's something outside of the purview of something I can maintain, I make that shit abundantly clear. Like this is not how we moving forever. This is a, you know what I mean? because I don't want to set an expectation. That's I always talk about standards, expectations, and boundaries, right? I don't want to set an expectation for me that's so high that I'm gonna work myself to death trying to commit to it, or that I'm gonna create a disappointment just because I can't meet that expectation. So I try and cap things and with foresight plan for eventual things. And I absolutely tap that ass when she walked by. I absolutely like, damn, you know, you know what I'm saying? I see you, that ass poking out. I do all of that shit all day. You know what I'm saying? I'm still flirting like we in high school. Because I believe like I when I be hearing men talk about they don't get sex when they wild and all that stuff. I never had that issue, but the whole day continual foreplay because I'm gonna be talking to you. I'm gonna be, you know what I'm saying? Like just I'm brushing up behind you playfully. We all of that stuff is gonna be a continual thing, even with the kids. Like I'm kind of getting worried at this point because they get a little older and it's like, all right, you know, we might need to chill with some of this stuff around them. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah. I still do it though. I still do it. I don't think it should ever stop, honestly.
I have a
And the reason I asked was because it went back to the complacency question.
Yeah.
It is, do we truly become complacent? Do we
So
not? Do we no longer do the things that we did to make I don't want to say make her fall in love, but to make her fall in love? Because if we're not, does that contribute to that divorce rate?
so let me can I answer first, Enas? Because I know he asked us. Let me answer that question realistically. I can't. The things Marcus talked about, I absolutely do. Anything that I can do within the house, I do. The weird part about it is that women don't. We have to acknowledge how the phases of marriage. Women don't necessarily want or like the same things they always did. Yeah, she still likes when I tap her ass. In fact, to be honest, she don't respond the same way she used to before we were married. Now she got kids. Now my son also likes to grab on her. Now she's a little less sensitive to touch. You see what I'm saying? So we got to acknowledge the realities of marriage as well. You see what I'm saying? Where we isn't it true that marriages that do fail within the first 5 years? That's because children are introduced and people aren't really ready for the emotional roller coaster of everything you cannot do. I don't know how to answer the question, AP, because how could I possibly do what I used to do with a 3 and a 5-year-old? Our hours just fluctuate. A weird air. We going on date night tonight. Your grandma coming. Oh, she can't come no more. Literally, your life just looks different. You have to make it work, and you have to have people that are realistic minded. Like it's usually the man that knows. You just kind of go with the flow. Like, hey, we got to be down right now. I see that women are divorcing because they suffer from their lofty expectations during this period. You expect him to keep him up, and it may just be impossible. That's what I want to speak the truth on that situation. Like, babe, if you're trying to go out 4 nights a week, dog, come on. Like, I knew stuff was gonna change. Do you know the stuff your wife used to do to you before you got married? That woman tired now, bro. Literally, she tired now. She ain't the you know that person. She can't be unless I take her on a vacation for a week, let her sleep the first 3 days of the vacation, right?
See, I'm just playing devil's advocate a little bit, and this is because I kind of think it was a bit of a softball because I know life changes, right? But isn't it our job to set everything in motion to take her on? Maybe you're not taking her on 4 dates a week. Maybe you're taking her on 2 because you did set. I'm not saying you. I'm saying men.
Yeah.
You did set something at the very beginning of the relationship, and women will carry that expectation. And I like what you said, Marcus, about we got to have this real conversation now. But um, isn't it your job to provide that for her still? If that is something that you did, is it unreasonable for her to expect you to continue to do it, which means you must provide the space in order for those things to happen?
It is
I'm just
absolutely
I'm
not
just
unreasonable.
playing devil's advocate here.
No, it's a great question because I think it needs to be answered directly. What we have in society now is people listening to like dating coaches and people being like, he's supposed to keep the same. It's impossible.
Mhm.
I'm trying to tell people the realness of a relationship. I'm here. When I say for better or for worse, it's not actually worse. Like inconsistency is part of the worst. Did anybody plan for how clingy a 2, a 3, and a 5-year-old were going to be to you as you advanced in your career? Did we speak about that? I work more hours now. I was just an instructor then. I'm a director now. I have other people's work to read.
So
but
Trey,
yeah, go ahead.
If I was doing what you were doing and just going extra hard and working, I would 100% agree with you. I saw this stuff coming and I pulled back. I think I talked about this before when I was saying I was prioritizing my family over profit, and that's probably why I sound like shit kind of got better. I ain't gonna hold you, but it's
but the average man.
Yeah. So I
think the people that make it through these times are the people that are ultra realistic and willing to adapt to the changes in their relationship more gracefully than others. I'm telling you right now, me and my wife have almost daily conversations about future stuff. Like, ooh, I can't wait until grandma, her stepmother, comes back to Texas. Right? Because she said she's taking them for a week. It's like we have that to look forward to. We talk about it every day. Because when those kids go, then we can enjoy ourselves like we used to. But the reality of the situation is that we cannot until we get that, type of help.
I just want to jump in here because I love that Trigger Mike and Marcus shared their perspectives. I'm going to speak for mine as a woman. I'm at that age where, a group of people are getting married, a group of people have been married, and a group of people are on to their second marriages. I'm just at that category where everything's kind of intersecting. And I have to give kudos where kudos is earned. From hearing Trigger Mike and Marcus talk about their wives, I have to say that y'all are not the norm. Y'all really are the exceptions. And I say that knowing that the women who are on to their second marriages, or the women who are fulfilled in their marriages, I'm not going to say happy, I'm going to say fulfilled in their marriages, their husbands move the way y'all move. They are realistic. They communicate what it is that they're capable of being consistent with and what is, a one-off. However, the women who are in unfulfilling marriages or have chosen not to get remarried, or are in situations where they choose not to get married, right? However you want to take that, they typically find men who don't move the way y'all do. And I think that really is where women are complaining about these things, and men like y'all are saying, well, this doesn't make sense, women aren't being realistic, but they're with men that don't move like y'all do, right? And I think that's really where the disconnect is in having these conversations. There are men who are just like, all right, she got the ring, she's the wife, she's got the title, I don't really have to do anything else to maintain this relationship past this point other than pay the bills and show up at the house at a reasonable hour. There is a vast majority of men that function like that. And I think if we're going to have this conversation about women's complaints in marriages, we also need to talk about those men and not the men that are doing outstanding jobs like y'all are. And I know that there's a reality where sometimes things get difficult and there comes to stages and crossroads, but some people never get to that point because things are already so difficult from the get-go.
I appreciate
How about
that.
you, Miss Taken? Because you too are married. What were some of the changes and what were some of the conversations like that you and your husband had to have in order for you guys to continue to be successfully married?
Well, I do think I think both of us, and I have to be honest, I think he did had more of a realistic view of what marriage was going to be versus me. And I think because of that, when I kind of went off, he was able to kind of bring it down. Like when stuff went wrong, to me, everything was a 10. Like this, everything needed to be perfect in my mind of what I was told or taught what a wife should be. I was trying to live up to that expectation. and felt very insecure at my ability to be able to do it all, right? And that was me. He never necessarily required all of those things, but in my mind I thought I had to. And so because of that, I felt very unfulfilled because I felt like I'm doing all of these things and he's not. He's not doing anything. And that was just me projecting on him. And I think once I came to the understanding of like, well, he's not even asking me to do this and I'm doing it. Um, and in some sense, I'll say he gave me permission to not do that because it's like I didn't require it. Once I got that understanding, I think I became much more happier myself within my marriage. I was looking to him to make me happy. And not saying that he didn't do things to make me happy, but that happiness had to come from me. I was putting so much pressure on myself about what marriage was supposed to be like, which didn't really line up with reality of what marriage was. And I think now that we're, almost 20 years in, and now we're at that stage that I can't remember if Trisha or Mike was saying it or Marcus about when the kids leave. So we're at that stage in our marriage. And I can say this level of where we're at has became so much more deeper than it was in the beginning. Because in the beginning, you're young, you're new, you have kids, the kids become the focus. Everybody's on the same page with making sure the kids are right. Now the kids are gone, and now we're left with each other. And the deeper conversations are being had because now I don't know if we have less life ahead of us, than behind us, but we're at the stage where we've known each other more than half of our lives. And so that push is totally different. So now questions are about like we do check-ins with each other, like really asking, are we okay? Because before we didn't, and I'm holding on to stuff and I didn't know he's holding on to stuff, then something happens and then everything comes out all at once and you're like, man, you never said anything. So that making sure that we stay connected, spending time with each other. Like our date nights look different, even though we don't have kids here in the house. The appreciation of our date night is just spending time with each other, watching movies or, in a hot tub, just things like that, that we make sure that connection is there. So,
Hot tub, watch out
yeah.
now.
Oh yeah. Once the kids left, listen.
I got one more question. I got one more
Okay,
question,
we're gonna be
and this is to,
summing it up.
yeah,
Okay.
and
Go ahead.
this is to you, Miss Shan. Knowing what you know now, going forward into your next marriage or your next relationship or whatever's next for you, what are some of the thing? What are some of your takeaways and some of the things that you know that you will do differently or expect differently? What are some of the things you plan to do differently in order to have the next successful relationship?
I don't. I guess for me, I'm a selfless person anyway, especially in a relationship. If I love you, I go all in. I'm a loyal lover. I like to see my man happy. All of those things. Now, my expectation of him is where it gets tricky. um,
What are those expectations, though?
I don't know if I'm gonna change.
You got to be a 6'9" doctor who makes
That's a
$230
lie.
million a year.
Shut up, Marcus.
No, we know her expectations. I've
I
seen her
don't
on
even
that show.
have I don't even have a height requirement. I don't have any of that. But I
Do
do.
you have a clear picture of what you're looking for, though? Because I know when we're younger, we kind of have an idea what we want. We don't have a clear picture of exactly what we're looking for. We're not super decisive.
You know what? AP, I'm gonna say to that, I think women should not have a clear picture of what they're looking for because they're gonna hyper focus. Know what you have to avoid. That's it.
Thank you.
I
That's
think the
I
number
love
one
that.
issue with women today is that because I've married two people by accident. By the girl coming to me, people that I went to like high school with, and we ended up working together. I think I told y'all the story. And I explained to her why she needed to get with that man. And the number one issue women have today is that they think they know what they want. They don't allow themselves to be put on to anything better. That is what they think they know everything that could possibly please them. You do not understand the chambers that a good man is going to unlock in your mind. Like literally that type of process where a dude, you're vibing with a dude on a new level will make an ugly dude cute to you. Women don't even understand it.
So I appreciate that you brought that back up. Excuse me, Trigger Mike, because
Full
you and
circle.
I agreed on that point when you did bring it up. And I know you didn't ask me the question, but I do disagree with Trigger Mike on this fact, right? I was that woman that was like, I was never a go with the flow girl, but it was just, let me be open to certain things. And honestly, I wasn't finding the results that I was looking for. And so what I did was go back and dig my heels deeper into my faith and really take a look at what my faith told me I should be looking at. They're specific with room for interpretation, right? There's four main things in which you should be marrying a man for: his looks, his ability to provide, um, the family that he comes from, and his relationship to God, right? Those are the four reasons that are encouraged to marry somebody, right? They are very specific, but there's still room for, what you were saying of being able to be put on, right? Like, are you somebody who can really, like, my big thing is when it comes to women is understanding the reality of the things that you were asking for. If you are looking for somebody who is incredibly religious, who is totally 100% locked into God, can you handle that? Can you really take that on of the reality of what that looks like, not just the illusion of what that looks like, but what it looks like in practice in every single day? Are you going to be annoyed when he is late to certain things because he's decided that he needs to pray? Are you going to be annoyed when he tells you you can't do this and that as your husband because he's following the word of God? Like, are you really that person, right? When it comes to the wealth, right? Are you willing to understand what, like, to take etiquette courses to be able to sit in the circles with the people that he's in with? Do you come, if you're looking for family, do you come from a family that comes from a good reputation where that family would be accepting of your family, right? When it comes to looks, are you a woman who is secure enough that if this man is being hit on right in front of you, that you're not just going to pop off, right? I think that when it comes to what women are looking for, it's not just idealizing those expectations, but understanding the negative parts of it. And are you actually equipped or working towards, like, actually working towards the things to be able to take those things on? If you're not, you're living in la la land. And I think that's where I agree that with men saying that women live in fantasy. But if you are really willing to take on the negative aspects of the things that you were asking for, I think you're totally fine to keep continuing to look for it.
Yeah, we don't disagree about much on that. I think I was saying, other than the looks part, where it's like, yeah, I think what the general attraction part is, pretty even between men and women. Like that's what. Ooh, he coming over here, girl. Let me put my. I've seen girls fixing a stuff like, this gray has done a lot for me. Unfortunately, I've been married the whole time, so I can't do nothing about it. But yeah, that general attraction thing. Yeah, I'm tracking with you on that.
Okay.
You a whole high value man out here, huh? They be on you, Mike.
And can't do a damn thing about it, bro. But let me tell you, Angry Man said it. They said, don't threaten a man like me with divorce because you're just threatening me with a good time. Don't put me out here with 10 times the resources I had when I married you.
I just have a quick question for y'all. I know, like I heard somebody mention about loyalty and men being more loyal, but I do just my question is: do you think loyalty means it is different? That loyalty means something different to men versus women, and what does that look like?
Hell yeah.
What does that look like? That's my curiosity.
I
What
want to
does
jump in before
that
the
look like?
I want to jump in before the men do, because I know they're like revving up. I just want to say this for women, loyalty means fidelity.
And the answer is no.
Nope.
Yeah, right. And I think that's where the difference is. I don't think for men that loyalty equals fidelity. Loyalty means that I still show up and I do the things I said I was going to do. I think that definition for women is significantly different, and I think there's a huge disconnect in that.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a huge difference between faithfulness and loyalty, and we're loyal to a fault. If I'm gonna be real, men are we're kind of loyal to a fault. We can see all the signs on the wall that your ass is about to leave. We're not going nowhere, and we're not gonna change our pattern. We're gonna show up every night. We're gonna do what we did the night before until you get fucking fed up and you decide to leave. We're not going anywhere. We've already decided we're not going anywhere. That's the part y'all don't get. We've already decided we're not going anywhere. So it's gonna take your ass to leave in order for this thing to disappear. Like and when it comes to faithfulness, we simply don't view sex the same way. Men and women do not view sex the same way. It takes a lot of control for a man to be like, you know what? Nah, boo, I'm good. It takes a lot, like it takes a lot of willpower. Y'all don't understand that. Because yeah, if the opportunity is there and it presents itself, yeah, we want to, because that's just kind of the way we are. But it takes control for us to say, you know what? No, I'm good. And it's nothing to us. It could absolutely positively mean nothing. And it probably does mean nothing because we're not going to give you our heart. Our heart is loyal to the chick we already gave it to. But yeah, we'll bust you down. And I think y'all confuse that. That's just my opinion. I think y'all confuse the two.
Yeah.
Well, based on that interpretation, if you made up in your mind to stay, and sex, doesn't equate to loyalty in your mind,
Do you
then
want to do that? I know what you're about to say.
yes, I was waiting for that. You know where it's going.
Do you want to
If
do it?
that is the case, then if the wife steps out,
See, like you're
is
missing the
that
main point of what I said. You're missing the main point of what I said.
I did, 'cause
Men,
you said it's not
men and women view sex very differently.
very differently, but the loyalty is what I'm talking about. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about the sex. Y'all view sex. You said loyalty in the sex is not the same thing. So my question is, if it's loyal and men will stay in a marriage no matter what, and sex, you don't view sex the same way, if a woman steps out but she stays in the marriage, is she now not loyal if you guys don't view
No, because I knew what it took for her to actually do that.
Let me get this one, AP.
Go ahead, Trick. You got it.
So,
I'll give you the flow.
Sexual fidelity is absolutely loyalty to men and an expectation of what loyalty means. Faithfulness, dedication to the wife and mother role, and her complete sexual fidelity. So if she violates that, now I want you to understand this. It's very hard for men to admit or self-report this. You see what I'm saying? But you can assume, you can make a true, intelligent discernment that if there are studies saying that women cheat more simply because they have access to sex, it's very hard for men to get sex. It's very easy for women to get it. So women cheat more simply because they have access to sex. That means that husbands are out here getting cheated on. They found out and still didn't leave. And the numbers still are what they are. I'm not saying the marriage is going to look the same. He definitely. So the reason, this is where that whole logic and practicality thing comes in. I did not know one of my homeboys got cheated on until that wife divorced him. This dude kept 10 years. And we were just at homecoming. He had to be busted drunk to tell me. And I'm like, what? Yo, I said, what, she did that? That men aren't saying nothing. That's the part about it. The one piece of loyalty I don't think women get enough of is that, look at it as in the jungle. You cannot allow another man, even if you actually do it, you cannot give out the appearance that I am not the dominant person in this house. You cannot make it seem like another lion actually came in and ate my food. If he actually did, we're going to cover this shit up because nobody can know. I need to have perceived dominance at all times. That's what women play with when they're giving the goods to another man. If you bring Jada Pinkett, you brought this dude out in public, I no longer have perceived dominance. She was an idiot. That's why she's getting so much backlash. Because Will Smith, I don't think, ever did anything like that to her in public. That's the difference. Your children are going to see that. You said you messed up the entire illusion of what we have going on here. So, lost my train of thought. But that is what. So you can see that men will actually accept it. Like, I'm not saying the marriage is going to look the same. Some dudes are like, F no. But you're logical enough to know when it's all said and done, you're going to say, am I really going to do this to my kids over this woman and her dumbass mistake? You're going to take time and ponder on it. You ain't going to make no rash decisions.
If I'm
then you're going to see how much your daughter needs her mother. You're going to see how much your son suffers on it. And you're going to be like, damn, men are going to, that's where all your logic and practicality are going to have to come to a head. And you're going to have to make that decision to say, I don't even like this. I ain't sleeping in this room, but I can't leave her. So you got to understand that. Yeah, go ahead.
If I'm going to keep it real, I'm not going anywhere. What's going to happen is she going to leave. The reason she going to leave is because she going to hate every minute of living with me. Every minute of living with me. You say it's hard for men to get sex, I'm bringing them to the house if the kids ain't home.
Straight up.
No point me even lying.
So remember what I just said, AP. Remember what I just said. Don't threaten me with a good time. If you cheat on me, now anything goes. If I want to bring 3 chicks in the bed, the answer is yes. If I want 3 midgets and a circus dancer, the answer is yes. I don't want to hear nothing.
So I have a question, right? Because I believe y'all, right? And the statistics back up what y'all are saying, right? And I'm not saying that every woman has cheated under those circumstances, but really, is that a place where a healthy, fulfilled woman should be staying in? Like, I know we place a lot of blame for women leaving marriages, but if we're thinking logically, right? Even if we say she did not cheat, right? Under those circumstances, does it really make sense for the children to grow up in a household watching that kind of dynamic? And again, I previously stated to people who are just joining the video, y'all are the exception to the rule in the way that you conduct yourselves with y'all wives, right? Mm-hmm. For the average person that does not put as much effort as y'all into your marriage and then goes out and does stuff like this, can we really place blame on women for wanting to leave these marriages and not put enough accountability on men for being active partners in these marriages to keep the relationship going?
Do they have kids?
Let's be honest, most people have kids even outside
of marriage. Most people have kids. That's why I'm like, no, it's 100%. Like, this is what I think we're giving out lofty expectations on a marriage in general. I think people don't understand. I said people don't know how to be married, and people don't even understand what the purpose of marriage is to begin with. Like, when you really want to, we can play the game of who suffers more in a marriage, and I promise you, men might win that Super Bowl. I'm telling you, We suffer in silence. Women suffer out loud. That's why everybody thinks women suffer more. We suffer in silence and only ride through it because we said we were going to. That sense of duty is on paper. We don't leave. She could cheat. As long as I have perceived dominance, I ain't gonna leave. She took my money out the bank. She made a bad business deal. She made us, they make consumer decisions, right? She made us buy this big ass house. Then she left the workforce. Men deal with a lot. Okay, the reason I just said that, my surgeon friend, whose wife's a lawyer, they bought a huge house on a plot of land, both incomes. She asked him to build a guest house for her parents. 1 year into paying for it, we can afford it. I will pay the mortgage. She left the workforce a month ago. Said she don't want to. She's not seeing the kids enough. And yes, he's a surgeon, but he said he's really pissed. He's really pissed. He said the efficiency in which we were able to do things is now damaged. He didn't say we didn't have enough money. He said the efficiency. So a man has to just deal with that because he's the provider, right? And he make $500,000 a year. And, even though their expenses are somewhere in the 250s, right? He just got to deal with it. So men eat a lot. And I still think that women don't understand that if we stay for damn near any reason and sacrifice our happiness, perhaps women should understand what marriage is about, and they should stay in it and ride it out a little longer as well.
Back to Inez's earlier point, she said that one of the things that she said was different from what we did and what the other men were doing was we actually communicated what we were capable of doing. Him letting her get that house, knowing that it's a potential that maybe he would have to do all this extra, I got to put that on him. He should have vetoed that decision, because you know your partner, and if she didn't just now start feeling like I don't see the kids. I think it's warning signs the whole time. I know I'd be like on men all the time because ultimately with me, I feel like everything really just follows us. So yeah.
So everything does fall on us, but this is the part that I'm struggling with, because men are going to fall into that trap because nobody realizes that we're the first men ever that already had to deal with being deprioritized by our women because of work. Society indoctrinated us and told us women were equal. Women themselves are telling us they can work just as hard as us. So who are we not to believe them? It's only at the age of between 35 and 45, the kids getting a little bit older and them only being able to see pictures and not physically be there, that they change their mind. Like, think about it. It doesn't even make logical sense. How the hell are you going to go to school for damn near 9 years to be a corporate lawyer? You clerked for 2, but you want to leave the workforce before 40? What the hell? Where they do that at? What man does that? So women saying that they're equal, you think she's just going to do what you do, right? So I definitely, everything's a man's fault, Marcus, when we really look at it. But no, a lot of men are going to fall for that trick simply because it's marketed to us that women are equal, they can do what we do, and it goes from there. So
yeah,
we have super chats.
Dark Relief, $5. I think we've all been socialized to have feminist ideals to a degree. Mr. Cade, loyalty is loyalty. Go by the actual definition. Congo English. Chamonix, good morning. Hope all is well.
Good morning.
Shout out to the 20 ball.
Yes. Thank you guys for the super chat. Did you guys want to do any last we're about to sum it up for the night. Any last points that you wanted to make or anything else you want to
if you still watching, just don't watch the replay, bro. She smoked you.
What happened?
You got on this 2020 twin.
To my chaotic and
That's a fact. When it came to the debate points, wasn't even close. Now I don't. That's not to say I agreed with everything, but the debate points, Inaz.
I appreciate that. I don't I don't need people to agree with me. My job isn't to discuss things, but if I hear something that sounds harmful to our people, I'm definitely going to speak up. So I appreciate the shout outs.
Anybody else wanted to add anything at the end? Anybody had any questions or anything before we sum it up?
Men, don't work yourself to death by creating unrealistic standards. You more valuable than a wallet. Your kids need you, your family needs you, the people around you need you. Don't do it. Money is not the end all be all. It's a tool like any other thing.
Don't be broke neither.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying be broke. I'm just saying.
Make sure you hit them likes on your way out.
That's right.
And since Marcus addressed the men and so did AP, I'm going to address the women. Be realistic in what you're asking of that man, and what you're able to take on that man is giving or contributing. So I think if both parties show up appropriately, I think we'll have more marriages and more marriages that last.
I like that. Well, you guys, chat, thank you for hanging in there with us. Panelists, thank you guys for coming with us. We will see you again next Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See y'all later.
Good night.